What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Truth and Transparency. This is Reed and Turtleboy. Someone leaked impounded material. Here is the document. This came out today, which is today the 29th or the 28th? Making sure I'm not losing my mind here. Yep, it's the 29th. So welcome all in. Again, my name is Lana, and I'll be your host here at Truth and Transparency. This episode features Karen Reed and Aiden Carney, Turtleboy. Well, we have a filing, and we have some dates that I want to go over. And this filing, again, came today, and it came from the judge. And the judge said, hey, I have an order, and the order is relative to the order of impoundment. And again, here it reads, it says, I have been advised of information that allows for a reasonable inference of a violation of an order of impoundment issued by me, the judge. Again, this is in the Paul O'Keefe et al. Plaintiffs, and this is the two bars, and then Reed and Aiden Carney. Here it is. Each plaintiff and defendant and each counsel with a notice of appearance in this matter as of June 8th, 2026 shall file with the clerk on or before 4:30 p.m. on Tuesday, June 30th, which is tomorrow, a certification under the pains and penalties of perjury as to all facts known to them. What is your personal knowledge as to any dissemination to anyone other than parties and counsel in this matter of any of the contents of the material impounded by the order that was issued on June 8th, 2026. So this is very specific. And again, let me just remind everybody that it is only Karen Reed and the bars. So Karen Reed and the bars. Aiden Carney and Karen Reed are on the other, God, there's so many freaking cases. They're on the other case, not this case. So the judge is very specific here. He's saying, I just need to know who was on record as counsel on June 8th. I need to know what you know about the material that was specifically to that impoundment on June 8th, and who'd you give it to, who had access to it, what is your personal knowledge, and this is under the pains and penalty of perjury. So somebody, again, is alleged and is inferred that, hey, we have something happened here because we have information that got out, and the judge says that I have been advised of information that allows for a reasonable inference of a violation of an order of impoundment issued by me. And that's him, the judge. Now, this is what's interesting is right here is that they're going to have this in-person hearing that is scheduled for this Wednesday, July 1st, and it's at 3 p.m. All counsel with a notice of appearance shall attend, meaning like nobody else, but is it okay like if Alan Jackson doesn't fly in for this? And then the third thing is all further attempts to take discovery from the party whose information was the subject of the order of impoundment is precluded pending further orders of the court. So how I'm reading this is like, hold up, wait a minute. Not only are we going to have you guys fill out your little affidavits here, but we're also going to put a halt on any discovery that has to do with this person. The material that was basically, it was supposed to be impounded and somehow got out. So we're going to have a date here. Again, they have to get all this in tomorrow by 4:30, and then they're all going to be seen in front of the judge on the 1st. And then over the next couple of weeks, we have some important dates, which is the 13th and the 14th of July. I believe Karen's phone is going to be talked about on the 13th. On the 14th, I thought it was the anti-slap that was due to be talked about. And then the 20th, July 20th, it's Aiden's motion to dismiss. So a lot going on. Whew. Now, let's just say hypothetically, right, that this comes back and they're able to say that, somebody did it, regardless of who. What can happen from it? This reminds me of the Brian Culver case where we're like trying to find the leak or whatever. I love it. You want to know why I love it? Because this shit shouldn't be happening. Two wrongs don't make a right. You're no better than anybody else if you're going to get down to someone's level. So it's kind of like when you're either growing up in a car and your sister or brother, pinched you or hit you and then you did it back, or you're playing in a basketball game and the ref doesn't see the first thing, but he sees the second, the retaliation, and you get the technical. This is not necessary. So we'll see what happens here. But before this came out, Turtleboy decides to do a live on his bus stop live because last night I had the pleasure of listening to John Camo, which I valued everything that he's saying. He actually gave props to the women that do the forensic for, and he's like, I can at least respect them. We have totally different opinions, but I can at least respect them because of their integrity, and it was so well said. I don't know John from Adam. I just appreciate that he actually is from Canton. He wants to talk about what's going on in Canton. I always valued that when I was there. Me and Bella went down there and we were there for a week. We wanted to thank the boots on the ground people, the people from Canton that were out there. They wanted change and stuff like this and transparency with their police department. And this has been going on for a long time, yada, yada, yada. And it was John's message is that all these little inserters, people that basically started channels, they didn't have channels before on YouTube. They didn't have podcasts, whatever. As everybody knows, that's not the case here. We've been around a long time before Karen Reed, and we will be around a long time after Karen Reed. And I just loved his message about, because it matters, that I don't care what your opinion is. I don't want you to care about my opinion. I want to know that I can have my opinion, ask my questions, and feel however I want from, hey, this is why I see, like, why don't you ask somebody why they see it that way and how I see the timeline or whatever. But if we're all fighting for, they say, First Amendment, then you look like an idiot when you're blasting somebody just because they don't have the same opinion, or that you're delusional if you think that way and blah, blah. You guys, his message was perfect in the fact that I don't care about your opinion. I care about your integrity. I care about how you do something. That's what we care about. We care about everybody's rights. And so that doesn't stop with Karen Reed. Everybody that was a witness in that case has rights. And why are people out there saying that, they never had a day in court, right? They're innocent until proven guilty, right? So anybody that's going to go around calling people murderers, right? Cop killers and all this crazy shit, but yet you don't want Karen Reed treated that way. You look like an idiot. It's called like an oxymoron. It's called being a hypocrite. So I just personally enjoyed seeing somebody value and make it a point to say that I can still respect you and disagree with you. We do it every day. We love our spouses or we love our best friends, but how many times do you guys disagree on something? Oh, I really like that movie. Oh God, I hated that movie. Where do you want to go to dinner? I want to go here. They want to go there. I don't really like that food. But really, I mean, it's people's preference. It's people's opinions, right? But what matters to me is what information are you basing your opinion on? Like, let's talk about that and let's have a conversation. So I thought John did a really good job. And like I said, I don't know him from Adam, but I really liked his message. And I just want to say that I thought that was great. Heidi, exactly. With TB, if you don't agree with him, you are blasted for it. And that's BS. And not only are you blasted for it, but people will come after you. And it's like, I'm over here like, hey, if you're so innocent, everything's going to be fine. Hey, if it's just, freedom of speech, you're going to be fine. Because trust me, I am a big, big advocate of freedom of speech. But you're also not going to hide behind that. And you're also not going to act like you don't know the laws in your town when you do. Now, another bombshell that happened is Meredith O Neil, ex-girlfriend of Turtleboy, she just got hit with charges for wiretapping. They are now officially charged Meredith with wiretapping. Again, Aiden Carney brought this forward. It was back a couple weeks ago, and it made it through basically like it's probable cause phase. So like go forward and like, okay, there's probable cause here exists that this person could have, committed felony wiretapping. So we're going to get into that at the end of the broadcast. But before we do that portion of it, Turtleboy, again, like I said, did a live reaction to John Camo's live. And again, what an idiot. What an idiot. We're going to point out how Turtleboy, I have a couple clips I want to show. John had Lucky on. And if you guys remember, Turtleboy was acting like he was, I'm going to have Lucky on just recently and blah, blah. I knew that day was never happening. So here John has Lucky on, and to listen to Lucky talk and talk about his wife. And like I said, if you haven't seen it, if you're following this case, hear what Lucky has to say. I thought it was real. It was authentic. So I don't think that he just got out there just to, fancy everybody or something like that. We'll come back to that. But here, before this dropped, this little, hey, Turtleboy did a live. And Turtleboy was like, I want to talk about what John Camo talked about. And it's just like, what are you doing? So it's around the 40-minute mark of the video.
From one side, Aiden said some disgusting things about Lucky. Here, we gotta get to Mr. Lucky, and we gotta get to Mr. Steven.
This is what he's gonna play now. Is
okay. So first thing that Aiden wants to do is he wants to rewrite history, and he's like, so I put this right where we needed to be, and it says like, this is what Aiden said. Aiden's on the screen. Aiden's on the screen because he's like watching John. Watch Aiden. So Aiden's here watching himself from back in the day. And here we go.
Again, we've been over this before. Okay. And I've done, so John knows this. So I'm sure this will get back to him. So I want to be very clear to John, because I've been over this many times. And what you're doing right now is you're sharing anti-propaganda. This
right there. You're sharing anti-propaganda. What? Do you guys realize John Camo, all he did was press play of a live broadcast that Aiden Carney did in June of 2023. And now Aiden Carney in 2026 is calling his own video, and this is anti-propaganda. It was his own propaganda.
Video right here is what Hank Brennan was referring to when he asked Lucky if he was intimidated by me. Lucky repeatedly said no.
Why don't you, we'll get to that.
you know.
The best part that I like what Lucky said last night was when he talked about his daughter, and that his daughter calls him up and was like, are you going to let this man say these things about you? Like calling you a fat pig, whatever, you know, how he goes on and on and on.
Lucky repeatedly said no, that he did not feel intimidated by this video. And so when I first found out about Lucky on May 7th from Karen Reed.
May 7th. Just so we're clear, in an interview that we've all already heard now, when the police interviewed Lucky, Lucky says that Aiden Carney reached out to him in March. So Aiden, again, and also please remember this. Lucky said that a phone number associated with a certain beginning, same number, certain beginning that Steve Scanlon said that contacted him. They both said the same first 3 digits. Steve Scanlon and Lucky are saying that they were contacted by I think it was a 401 number. And Lucky specifically says it was March that he received a message from, Aiden. Turtleboy says right here that May 7th. Well, maybe on that device.
When I first found out about Lucky on May 7th from Karen Reed, until that time, I thought John O'Keefe's body was on the line at 12:30. And I've been saying that for about 2 weeks since I started writing about it. She then let me know that they had a plow driver witness who saw this person, who saw, didn't see a person on the line. So he drove down.
That's actually not what Karen said at all at that time. But if you're now going to say this, then there is definitely a different device, like I've been saying. But she was just talking about that, hey, Alan Jackson's not saying something. You guys remember that? We don't want you to go too far this way because we know things that you don't know.
You see John's body on the front line, right? That changes everything.
She was trying to tell him, like, think, Aiden, who else could think, like, without her giving, like, this is how he described it back in the day.
You know what I mean? Because it happened at 2:30. So now I realized, oh shit, he was put out there afterwards, after the Google search. So when she Googled 227, how long to die in cold, that was because she was planning it, not because he was already there. And so I was working through it, right?
Okay, now.
And so he gets left out there. I don't know what time he got put out there, but it was after Lucky drove by at 2:30 and before 6 o'clock. Okay. Anyway, so I know about Lucky, and Karen told me that Lucky ghosted them. Lucky was supposed to meet up with Karen's private eye on March 27th, 2022 to drive them through his route, and he ghosted them. And I found out that this is happening because the DPW folks told.
Oh, here, March. I recommend getting a book out there. And it's for none other reason than anybody in Boston would want to go and get this book. Cy Ray is the author of the book. And one of the chapters in his 588 pages that just literally was released is dedicated to Jennifer McCabe. And the name of the chapter that's dedicated to Bostonites, I call them the Boston peeps, is what is the name of the chapter? It's House Long. I thought it was chapter 7, but hold on. Okay, it is chapter. Mm, 12.
Told their employees, including Lucky, you can't talk to anyone. You're not allowed to talk about this. Lucky just wants to plow the roads. That's his number one concern, is losing his job. Right? And so I contacted Lucky and I sent him a message. And I was like, hey. And he kind of snapped and he was like, I don't want to talk about this with anyone. Leave me alone. Something like that. I had no idea what Lucky's wife had died like a month prior. And so I just left it at that. And I was under the impression that Lucky was doing what Steve Scanlon was doing. And he was, effectively helping cover this up. That was my impression, was because he ghosted the Karen Reed legal defense team, right? He ghosted the private investigator. He appeared to be changing his story. That's how it looked to me. And Lucky, I thought, was scared of the McAlberts. And so I go on a rant here. I don't know if he's going to play the whole thing, but in my rant, I specifically say that, like, you don't got to be scared of them anymore. You don't got to be scared of them anymore. I'm the mayor of Canton now. I said something like that. And let's see the part that he plays. And so keep in mind, I'm under the impression here, this is June of 2023. When I'm saying these things, I'm under the impression that Lucky is refusing to cooperate with the defense. That is what I'm under the impression at this time, because at that time, he was. At that time, he was not getting.
Thank you for admitting that you were under the impression, a couple things here, that he was not, working with the defense, not cooperating. So that means you were talking to the defense, right? And you acted like you weren't. But it's because of that you went and did this. Are you insane? You're talking about a cause and effect here? Because I was under the impression that this was going on, that I came out and did this. What? How dumb can you be to say those words?
Back to, and this is what Karen's told me. This is a pep talk. This is me telling him.
This is a pep talk? This is what Karen's told me.
You don't got to be scared, bro. The truth's going to come out. We're going to, if you don't.
Look at, this is rewriting, spinning what you did. You're never, just so we're clear that this is not how it's going to go in trial.
Tell it. I'm going to tell the story.
Yeah, if you don't want to tell it, I'm going to tell the story. What story? What are you talking about? What story are you going to tell? You haven't talked to anybody. You're just going to make shit up?
They should, again, it is in your best interest, Stephen and Mr. Lucky, to contact me. Let's just put it that way. Easy way and a hard way, sirs. Easy way and a hard. We can do things the way you've been doing them, or we can do them the Turtleboy way. I know whatever you're.
This is before you knew either of them. This is before you knew who either of them were, Steve Scanlon or Lucky Lockram. But I knew what they did.
But you knew what they did. You don't know anything. You have no personal knowledge of anything. You have hearsay.
And so I know Steve Scanlon's scared of Brian Albert. That's why he's changing his whatever.
How do you know that? What?
And so I know I believe Lucky was in
I know. I mean, I believe Lucky. What?
the same boat.
What an idiot.
So I'm like, listen to what I just said. Listen to what I said there.
Things about Lucky. Here, we gotta get to Mr. Lucky and we gotta get to Mr. Steven. They should, again, it is in your best interest, Steven and Mr. Lucky, to contact me. Like, let's just put it that way. Easy way and a hard way, sirs. Easy way.
So it is in your best interest to contact me. What do I mean when I say that? Well, nobody knew who they were at that point.
This is great.
And I'm like, I'd like to speak to them privately about this and discuss it.
Really? Because you just did it publicly, but you want to speak to them privately? Excuse me?
Or else I have to go on my show.
Or else I have to go on my show if you don't speak to me. I have to go on my show. Or else, like you just said it again.
And discuss it. Because I'm under the impression these guys are trying to
Who
hide.
gives a fuck? If you're under the impression of anything, it does not give you the right to do this. It doesn't matter what you're under the impression of.
Like they don't want Brian Albert knowing that they've cooperated with the defense. That's what I'm thinking. That they don't know that Brian Albert
He's lying.
knows. And I think that they're both scared of Brian Albert. I still believe that. And so I'm like, well, guess what? Brian Albert's going to find out either way.
That's not what you said. You didn't say that. That's not what you said. You said, "Oh, Brian doesn't know what you did." You said, "Oh, Brian doesn't know what you did, does he? He doesn't know what you did."
If you don't want to talk to me, I'll just talk about it on my show.
So you're just going to tell what? What are you going to tell on your show? What Karen told you, right? Hearsay.
I'll just talk about it on my show, and then Brian Albert's going to find out that way. So either way, I'm talking about it. And this is me letting them know.
And a heart. We can do things the way you've been doing them, or we can do them the Turtleboy way. I know whatever you're probably afraid, right? You don't want to come forward. You fear the Alberts, but you should fear me. Like not fear, not like
fear.
physical fear, but like I said, the Alberts fear me much more than I fear them.
Dude, what a moron.
Because I have the ability to severely change their lives.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Like I'm like I say it right there. I think you're scared of Brian Albert. You should.
What? I say it right there. I say that this delusion, you cannot rewrite like what you just said. You cannot like say it and then say that this is what I said.
Like I'm like I say it right there. I think you're scared of Brian Albert.
Physical fear.
And this is me letting them know.
And a heart. We can do things the way you've been doing them, or we can do them the Turtleboy way. I know whatever you're probably afraid, right? You don't want to come forward. You fear the Alberts, but you should fear me. Like not fear, not like
fear.
physical fear, but like I said, the Alberts fear me much more than I fear them, because I have the ability to severely change their lives.
So exactly. Like I'm like I say it right there. I think you're scared of Brian Albert. You shouldn't be scared of Brian Albert. Brian Albert can't hurt you.
But you can't.
I'm going to talk about it on my show though. And he's going to find out. He's going to find like this is somebody's dead here. Remaining silent is not an
Yeah, because you're like either talk to the defense and talk to me, because we're under the impression that you're not gonna. This is what he wants to tell people. So you were doing what? This is a form of intimidation. Whether or not Lucky wants to say he felt intimidated, I don't give a flying fuck. Okay.
option.
This is or else. These are your statements, or else. It's what a reasonable person, okay, is going to think that this would be.
And that goes for you too, Stephen. And that goes for you too, Mr. Lucky. We don't have to get into that yet. But I know your friends are gonna send this to you. I just want you to know.
I know your friends are going to send this to you. That's part of the statute. If they're going to know, if you know that there's a good chance that whatever you're saying is going to get back to them.
You've
Or
wanted
you're trying to get it to happen that way.
to keep a low profile for a reason. I get it.
I get
I'm
it.
not going to allow it anymore. Just know that. The jig is up. Time's up. You've had the chance to do the right thing. So now you've chosen not to, and now I'm giving you an ultimatum.
I'm giving you an ultimatum. What the fuck? And let me just, this is my question, you guys. How does Karen Reed watch this shit and not say, oh my God, what the hell did you do? Watch. Karen, he'll come. I guarantee you he calls you. You know what I mean? Like,
You need to contact me and do the right thing, and you're going to have a conversation with me, or Brian Albert finds out what you did, and then you can deal with him.
So there you go. It's pretty fucking clear what I'm saying there now. You guys,
there you go. He's just like, there you go. Or you can deal with Brian Albert. Because you're going to do what? Whoa. What?
get what I'm saying?
No.
That like, look at man, Brian Albert's gonna find out what you did. You don't have to be scared of him. Be like, we outnumber him. I go, they're scared of me, I say on there. Why is Brian Albert scared of me? Because I'm trying to put him in jail. Wouldn't you be scared of somebody who's trying to put you in jail? Not physically scared. I even say it right there. I'm much more scared. If I committed a crime, I'd be much more scared that it would be exposed by the media than I am by somebody punching me in the face. And I'm telling Lucky Locker and them, you don't have to be scared. There was an element of fear going on back then. People were afraid to come forward because they were scared of the McAlberts. And I was sick of it.
Nope. That's not true. Lucky was dealing with personal grief.
I'm like, fuck these people. No one should be scared of these people. Enough is enough. Like the era of silence and not talking is over. So this is where I was coming from. And guess what? As a result of this video, 2 days later, I talked to Steve Scanlon. He reached out to me. 2 days later, after this video came out, Steve Scanlon contacted me. This actually worked in getting...
This actually worked. What? I mean, you guys, when I saw this little clip, I said, what is wrong with him?
Steve Scanlon to talk to me. This is the video. I don't talk to Lucky for 2 more months. I give him some time. I found out his wife died. And so I give him some...
That's a lie. Now we all know that that's a lie. Oh, you found out his wife died after this? Can't wait for that to come out that it didn't happen that way. You guys, he just said it a couple weeks before that he had he was showing the pictures and stuff of his wife. He's lying. That the condolences and that Chris Albert was like all over his Facebook page and blah, 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 blah. Like, I mean, just, he does not remember his own lies. It's so fucking bad. Okay. And too bad this is not how it's going to go in trial. It's all going to be transcripts. Okay. There's not going to be like, I would stay away from letting this man to show the video. Okay. Do it off of transcripts and make him read, look over the transcript part and then ask him questions from that. And keep it about the transcripts because it's way more like when you're reading that and just hearing that, stick to the transcripts.
Space. And I'm like, that's fine. And then Lucky's family member reached out to me and told me he'd be willing to talk. Here's his number. So that's how I reached out to Lucky.
Remember, that's what he, yeah. No.
Lucky came around.
Lucky.
So how it looks though on Lucky says that Aiden reached out to him in March from a 401 number. Where's that 401 phone? Same thing that Steve Scallon said.
Offering is a useless fucking county piece of shit who is covering up a murder, who has information that can not only prove that Karen Reed is innocent, but can also prove who did it. This isn't
I mean, this is just so disingenuous for him to play this now.
Wait, why? What do you mean? Who behaves like this? Who says these things?
And he knows it. John Como, you know better than this.
What?
You know
You're putting this on him. This is what you did.
the context of this. This is Hank Brennan propaganda. This is
Oh my God, this is not Hank Brennan propaganda. This is what you did to Lucky Loughran. And this is what his family saw.
what Hank Brennan was talking about.
No, Hank Brennan was talking about the other one.
When he asked Lucky Loughran, did you feel intimidated by Turtleboy? And Lucky said no. And he's playing this right in front of Lucky. Lucky's sitting in.
He didn't play this in front of when? When did that happen? He just simply asked Lucky questions. Now you're going to rewrite the transcripts of a trial?
In front of him while he's playing this, and he's mad because he thinks he owns Lucky Loughran. He really does.
Look at, he's trying to enrage people. Like, let me just talk about, let me deflect over here to Hank. No, let's answer to the words you said.
And he made some sort of post saying like, oh, he'll never go on with Turtleboy. Well, I talked to Lucky 3 weeks ago, and he said he would come on, and I don't think he wants that to happen because I'm monetizing it. You know, he's all about the money. Not him though. Is his channel monetized? I don't know, but whatever.
Yeah.
And like this dude was a witness to the alleged witness intimidation, and he's not responding. He's decided he's not going to cooperate. He is obstructing justice. Like he is well aware. John, I texted you. I called you. I sent you a Twitter DM. You were at the rolling rally, weren't you? That was an illegal event, according to the police. You didn't get arrested for it. I did. You were at the protests outside of Chris Albert's pizza shop. They said that was witness intimidation. You were there. You can testify whether or not you witnessed any witness intimidation that day, but you're not responding. So you're obstructing justice, my dude. You are covering for the McAlberts. That's what you're doing right now, John. You're covering for the McAlberts by not responding. Why is John Como protecting the McAlberts is my question. Why is he doing that? Why are you protecting the McAlberts, John? You saw what happened that day. Why are you trying to help them out? Why are you refusing to cooperate with the Turtleboy legal defense? Why? You were a witness. You witnessed it that day. I know you don't like me. That's fine. Okay, you don't like me. Big deal. You don't have to like me. What's right is right. Is he Karen's friend? I mean, he's somebody that met Karen through this process, like a lot of people. And I think doesn't want, I don't know. Maybe he's scared of the McAlberts. Maybe he's scared that if he testifies about what he saw that day, that they'll come after him. I don't know. Maybe they're intimidating John. I don't know. But for him to play this clip in front of Lucky, knowing that my mindset when I said this was completely different from 2 months later, right? I was under the impression, like Karen Reed, that Lucky was refusing to cooperate with them. And guess what? When I reached out to Lucky 2 months later and I had a nice conversation with him about this, what did I do on my show that night? I went on there and I said, do not fuck with Lucky Loughran. Like, don't even think about it. We're going to protect Lucky at all costs. Lucky is doing the right thing, and we're going to protect him at all costs. Period. And John apparently has taken the Hank Brennan position because this video right here that he just shared, he's noticed he's not playing the video of me saying, don't fuck with Lucky. Leave Lucky alone.
Yeah, because that was your fucking damage control, you absolute fucking AD. I mean,
but he doesn't want. Okay. And so, like, why would he play that? Right. And then Lucky comes on.
I'm not doing this to shit on anybody.
Oh, you're not?
I'm doing this because it's the facts. Because we're going to hear it. Kate Peter just recently has said some disgusting things about Lucky. Similar to how Peter Hennessy has said stuff. Chris Albert, Mike Higgins, calling me a pedo. Right? Just recently, here she is. Kate Peter. Lucky accused of a kid at a hockey rink, and no one's ever told him he has to stop leaving his house. You know why? Because he's innocent. Because you guys are going off a rumor. He goes out in public and experiences no scorn or harassment. Yeah, you want to know why?
Okay, right here. But hey, I protected him. I just let the blackmail Kearney was holding over his head way back fly. So now it can't be used against him in the future. It's out there. Whoopsie doodle. What does Aiden have to say about this? Aiden, so basically Kate Peter is accusing you of holding over Lucky Loughran's head. And these, I have had multiple emails to me sent on the same topic. Okay. And that this is what you were holding over his head. And this is what you were talking about. Let's see what you have to say about this, because he just puts this up on the screen.
You guys keep making up rumors. Same reason why I am not afraid to be seen in town. We're not, neither one of Kearney was holding.
There was no.
These are the two people.
He's like, there was no blackmail.
She let it fly. Now it can't be used against him in the future. It's out there. Whoopsie doodle.
There was no.
These are the two people, the two biggest names
Me.
on either side.
So you're comparing me to Kate.
Let me get this out. I'm running solo tonight, so I don't have Eric's help to put things up and down on the screen, so you got to bear with me. I hope the chat is doing all right. So when I say it's not as simple as pick a side, this is what I mean. Because somebody from the town decided to run with a rumor. They ran to the Free Karen Reed side, and someone from the town ran to the McAlberts and McCabe's to give it to Kate Peter. That's what they're doing. They're using people in the town in their war. And when they decide you're not useful anymore, they're going to attack you.
All right.
Lucky's been attacked. He's been questioned. He's been marked. He's been judged. He's been used as a talking point by people who never once stopped to ask what he was actually going through.
Yeah, you care about him, but no one else does. We get it.
Sorry, my ADD. My phone's on vibrate. I checked that. I apologize.
Yeah, that was me texting you.
Tonight, I'm not doing that.
That was me texting you.
Tonight, Lucky's not a witness. He's not a headline. He's not a clip. Lucky's my friend.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk to him like a human being.
Yeah, you own him.
And again, I'm going to say this up front. During this next segment, I'm not going to be reading the super chats if we have any. I'm not going to be reading the regular chats.
Oh, okay.
No live chat will we be looking at. If you send something supportive, thank you. We appreciate it. But this part of the show isn't about stopping every couple minutes to read the chat or put out the super chat thing, jingles that we do all the time. Again, we know what that is. We know what that's about. But this is about giving Lucky the space that a lot of people never gave him. Because tonight's, here's the theme, the price you pay. Lucky's paid one. I've paid one. Jim Sullivan's paying one right now. The Kolakithises have paid one. So without further ado.
Okay, chapter 5, 5.2. How bad can it get? Why artifacts matter. On the night of January 28, 2022, Jennifer McCabe came home from a bar in Canton, Massachusetts, climbed into bed, and did what parents do. She picked up her phone, checked her daughter's hockey scores, the Hakamaka League, and late night search tab opened and the results loaded. Then she set the phone down and went to sleep. She left the tab open. However many hours later, at roughly 6:20 in the morning, Karen Reed called McCabe earlier in a panic. She couldn't find her boyfriend, Boston Police Officer John O'Keefe, who had been dropped at a party the night before and hadn't come home. Again, this is in a book that's just dropped. McCabe got into the car. They found O'Keefe face down in the snow outside 34 Fairview Road in Canton. Reed, according to McCabe, told her to search for how long it takes a person to die in the cold. McCabe picked up the same phone, opened the same tab, still sitting on her screen, from 4 hours earlier. This is from Cy Ray, who does a lot of, he's a phone expert / he's basically a location data expert. So I should walk that back. Not saying phone. So she opened up the same tab, still sitting on her screen from however many hours earlier, and typed the search. What she did not know, what no one in that car knew, was that the tab she used carried a timestamp. Not the timestamp of the House Law to Die in Cold search, the timestamp of the hockey search, the original open time at 2:27 a.m. This distinction would consume 2 trials. Cellbrite's extraction software logged the Safari Times or the tab's open time as its governing timestamp. When McCabe closed the tab at 10:33 that morning, the software wrote a single database record capturing 2 pieces of information from 2 entirely separate moments, the 2:27 a.m. timestamp from the hockey search and the URL and search contents from House Long query entered at 6:24 a.m. 2 behavioral events separated by 4 hours, fused into one artifact row. The tool that created the record did not flag the fusion. It had no mechanism to flag it. The record simply existed, presenting a timestamp and a search term as though they belonged to each other. They did not. The defense read the record as the prosecution's own data confirmed it. House Lana dying cold, timestamped at 2:27 a.m., hours before the body was found. The implication was not subtle. Someone in McCabe's circle had hypothermia on their mind before anyone had cause to. The artifact appeared to speak. Investigators let it speak. The narrative it produced traveled from the extraction report into investigative posture and from posture into prosecution or defense theory. What the artifact was never asked, what the artifact cannot answer, is which behavioral event the timestamp belonged to. Two prosecution experts, digital forensic examiner Jessica Hyde and Cellbrite senior digital intelligence specialist Ian Whiffen, eventually established what the record actually showed. Whiffen reconstructed the mechanism on test devices running iOS 15, demonstrating that Safari logs the tab's activation time, not the search execution time, and that a new database entry is not created when an existing tab is reused. The record, correctly interpreted, documented a browser tab opened during a Hakamat League sports search at 2:27 a.m. and removed the timestamp field from its decoding engine. That was at 2:27 a.m. And then the last used for hypothermia query at 6:24 a.m. Cellbrite subsequently removed the timestamp field from its decoding engine, an institutional acknowledgement that the field had been structurally incapable of asserting that investigators had allowed it to assert. The correction came through behavioral reconstruction, McCabe's testimony about what she was doing at 2:27, corroborated by forensic analysis of the tab's content in iOS architecture. Not more artifacts. Behavior. The record was corrected because a human being explained what she was actually doing, and the forensic analysis confirmed the mechanism that made her account technically coherent. That should have been the end of the lesson. In October of 2025, Kevin R. Horan published a post-trial analysis of the Reed timestamp dispute. Horan is not a peripheral figure in this discipline. He spent 26 years as an FBI special agent, joining the Cellular Analysis Survey team as one of its 10 founding members when CAST was formally established in 2010. He served as CAST field supervisor for the Western region, managing 26 agents between Ohio and California. He testified as a cellular forensic expert more than 110 times in state and federal courts across 22 states. He holds the FBI Director's Award for Distinguished Service to the law enforcement community. After retiring, he co-founded Precision Cellular Analysis, continuing to train the next generation of practitioners in the discipline he helped to build. When Kevin Horan identifies a systematic failure in digital forensics, the observation carries institutional weight. When he proposes a solution, the profession listens. His diagnosis was correct. The Reed timestamp dispute, he wrote, represented a quote unquote, a systematic failure to correlate data across sources, not a one-off expert error, not an isolated misreading, but a structural gap in how digital evidence is analyzed. Device-side artifacts, he argued, tell only half the story. Carrier records tell the other half. IP detail records, data session logs generated every time a device opens a network connection, record the start and stop times of each session, the tower and sector used, the bits transferred, and device identifiers. A proper forensic correlation, Horan proposed, would verify device clock accuracy against carrier UTC, map Safari activity to specific IP sessions on the network, identifying DNS or TLS handshakes with Google servers, and confirm tower locations. If no network session existed around 2:27 a.m., the timestamp reflected a tab opening or background process. If a session did exist, the data would confirm live user activity. Either way, Horan concluded the evidence would speak for itself. This is where the analysis requires a correction that Horan's article does not make. And the correction matters, not because it diminishes what he built, but because it reveals exactly what the digital shift demands of the entire profession. A network session existed at 2:27 a.m. McCabe was actively searching for hockey scores, real user activity, real data transfer, real DNS lookups, real bits moving between her phone and servers, real network presence at the timestamp. Horan's four-step correlation performed with full carrier records and the authority of a former FBI CAS supervisory special agent presenting the results would have returned a confirmed Google session at 2:27 a.m., accurate, defensible, and technically correct in every particular way it was capable of measuring. It would have confirmed the wrong behavioral event. The carrier record sees the door open. It does not see what walked through it. Network layer data confirms that a device communicated with the servers. It does not carry the resolution to distinguish between two separate searches executed in the same tab, in the same session window, by the same user at different times. The hockey scores in the hypothermia query exist at a level of behavioral granularity that the carrier infrastructure was never designed to preserve, because the carrier has no operational reason to store what a subscriber searched, only that the subscriber's device was connected and communicating. Horan's proposed correlation would have produced a forensically sound, federally credentialed confirmation of network activity at 2:27 a.m. The jury would have heard carrier records show the device was actively querying Google at that hour. The prosecution's theory that McCabe had hypothermia on her mind the defense's theory that McCabe had hypothermia on her mind before the body was found would have arrived in the courtroom carrying the weight of network layer evidence presented by a practitioner whose credentials no cross-examiner could easily reach. This is classic credibility by volume, not validation. The original artifact fused two behavioral events into one record. The proposed solution would have added a second artifact capable of confirming only one of them, the one the original misreading had already selected. The error would not have been corrected. It would have been reinforced with greater institutional authority behind it than the cell right extraction ever carried alone. Horan is right that the read failure was systematic. He is right that it was not an expert error, that a better examiner reading the same cell right output more carefully does not resolve the problem. The problem is structural. Where his analysis stopped is precisely at the boundary the digital shift requires the profession to cross. The solution he proposes, more data, better correlation, the right specialist, operates entirely within the same framework that produced the failure. It asks what additional artifacts can be gathered and compared. It does not ask what each artifact is structurally authorized to assert before it is permitted to assert anything. Those are different questions. The first is a question about data acquisition. The second is a question about categorical governance. The Cellbrite record was not authorized to assert a search timestamp. It held a tab open time. The carrier record was not authorized to assert which query occurred within the session. It held connection data. That was its purpose. Neither artifact had standing to answer the question the investigation was actually asking, not because the data was incomplete, but because the question itself lived at a level of behavioral specificity that neither data source reaches by design. Behavioral fusion forces a prior question before any artifact is permitted to speak. What data source is actually capable of answering this? Here, the answer was neither the network record nor the device extraction. The only source capable of asserting a deliberate search at a specific moment was the browser's own user-generated history, not the carrier, not Cellbrite, not a tab open timestamp recorded by a system that had no mechanism to distinguish between 4 hours ago and right now. But the deeper failure was not technical, it was behavioral. The prosecution theory required Jennifer McCabe to have searched for how long it takes a person to die in the cold at 2:27 in the morning, hours before John O'Keefe's body was found, hours before Karen Reed's phone call. I'm sorry, it's supposed to say the defense's theory. Required Jennifer McCabe to have searched for how long to die in the cold at 2:27 in the morning, hours before John O'Keefe's body was found, hours before Karen Reed's phone call, hours before anyone in the car had any stated reason to think about hypothermia at the time. That is the claim the timestamp appeared to support. What no one stopped to ask was whether the behavior surrounding that artifact made any sense. It did not. Behavior is not a single moment. It is a sequence. It has a before and it has an after. And both are as evidentiary as the moment itself. If Jennifer McCabe searched for hypothermia information at 2:27 a.m. because she knew someone was freezing to death, the behavioral record surrounding that search should reflect that knowledge. There should be something before it, a call, a text, a reaction, some thread of communication or activity that explains why a mother who had just come home from a bar and then her sisters gone to bed was suddenly researching cold weather lethally in the middle of the night. There is nothing. The device record is silent. No preceding contact, no incoming information, no behavioral trigger of any kind. And there should be something after it. If a person has just searched for how long it takes someone to die in the cold because they knew someone is dying in the cold, the behavior that follows that search does not involve rolling over and going to sleep. It involves action, panic, communication, something. The record shows none of that either. The artifact was being examined in isolation, stripped of the behavioral context that gives any artifact its meaning. A search does not exist as a discrete event. It exists as a human action embedded in a sequence of other human actions, and that sequence either supports or destroys the interpretation being offered. Here, the sequence destroyed it entirely, not because the timestamp was wrong, though it was, but because even a correct timestamp at 2:27 a.m. would have described a behavioral impossibility. Nothing before the search explained why it happened. Nothing after the search reflected what it supposedly meant. The correction ultimately came not from a better tool or more sophisticated extraction. It came from behavior. A mother, a hockey game, a tab left open, a phone picked up 4 hours later, that reconstruction that did not emerge from a network record. It emerged from understanding what a human being was actually doing and then confirming that the artifact record was structurally consistent with the account. That is the governing principle. Artifacts do not assert behavior. Behavior explains artifacts. And when an artifact is placed into a behavioral sequence that cannot accommodate it, when nothing before it and nothing after it makes sense of what it supposedly shows, the artifact has not revealed a crime. It has revealed a question that investigation never thought to ask. That question is always the same. What was this person actually doing? The answer is never in the record alone. I want to be direct with you about why this case is in this book. The Karen Reed investigation has been picked apart by more voices than I can count. Analysis, commentators, and observers who arrived after the fact, equipped with transcripts, hindsight, and no accountability for what they concluded. That kind of criticism is easy to produce and nearly impossible to learn from. It mistakes clarity in retrospect for competence in the moment, and in doing so, it compounds the very confusion it claims to correct. That is not what this is. I have spent the better part of 3 decades working in and along law enforcement, not advising from a distance, but inside high-profile, high-pressure cases where the margin for error is narrow and the consequences of getting it wrong fall on real people. I understand what it costs to lead an investigation like this. The pressure is institutional, political, and deeply personal. The lead investigator in this case, Michael Proctor, was fired. His law enforcement certification was revoked. He sent derogatory texts about the suspect he was charged with investigating, shared confidential case information outside the department, and drank on duty. That conduct is indefensible, and the record reflects it clearly. The prosecution chose not to call him in the second trial. I am not here to revisit any of that. What I am here to say is that his misconduct and the digital evidence failure are not the same problem, and treating them as the same problem is how the structural failure escapes examination entirely. Remove Proctor from this investigation entirely. Replace him with a model investigator, professional, disciplined, without a single compromising text message. The Celebrate record still fuses two behavioral events into one artifact row. The timestamp still misrepresents what it holds. The carrier correlation still confirms the wrong event with greater authority. The structural failure does not belong to Proctor. It belongs to the absence of framework capable of catching what the evidence was actually doing. That distinction matters enormously because one failure ends with a termination and the other one doesn't end at all, not without a solution. Behavioral fusion is that solution, but I want to be clear about what that means and what it does not mean. It does not mean that a framework corrects failures by existing. Technical precision records of investigators and analysis working digital evidence has never been higher, and the response to that demand cannot be a checklist or a one-page methodology. Behavioral fusion has been constructed from the inside, built from the meticulous detections of hundreds of cases, refines the experience of working for them firsthand, and designed to govern best practices across every form of digital evidence in any medium it arrives in. That is not something that has been proposed before. Not the problem. The problem has been written about extensively. The solution, as a comprehensive operational framework, it has not. So I will not close this section with behavioral fusion fixing this, even though it does. The work is too complex and the stakes are too high to earn that claim in single sentences. What I will do is show you exactly what that fix looks like once I have earned the right to make it. The search term and the timestamp you just read about would not have entered this investigation as a single artifact. They would have been separated at intake. Two distinct behavioral events, each requiring independent validation before either was permitted to influence anything. As each moved through the framework, the investigative weight they would have carried would have been evaluated against definitive thresholds, given to anchors, pivoted artifacts carrying sufficient authority to change the direction of the investigation, or if it even comes from the other side. That evaluation does not happen quietly. It triggers a technical timeout, opens mandatory peer review, and requires that no thresholds be crossed until the record can withstand it. Cyril gives a nice nod to Jen McCabe, I believe, in this, and basically says, y'all are wrong. And it's been proven that the 227 search never happened about House Long to Die in the Cold, and exactly what I just talked about, and how it existed, why it existed, and why it needed to be fixed. And people that are still talking about the 227 fucking search, you can talk about it all you want. But I'm going to go with what happened in 2025, and I'm going to go with one of the best in the country when breaking it down. And it was a systematic failure within the structure of Cellbrite, period. So, and anybody going to trial in the future and saying that you're going to go forward with saying that that existed and trying to use that against Jennifer McCabe, you're an absolute idiot, because nobody's going to testify to that's not happening. And Turtleboy can keep spinning that all he wants. It's not happening. Nobody's going to put themselves in that situation. That's like an absolute fool. But whatever. So there you have it. I wanted you guys to hear about that. But the 2:27 a.m. search, there was a search. It's just the same tab was used then at 6:23. And the issue was what I just read. And he lays it out, I think, pretty good for, like, it's basically in a textbook now. It's in a textbook. That is a law enforcement methodology textbook. It's a 588-page textbook. And it's chapter 5.2. It's pretty impressive. Haley and I just wanted to make sure you saw this. If you were trying to get up with Baron Coleman, he mentioned you in his show tonight. All right. Woo! So, I just think people, you just need to have the correct facts if you want to have an opinion. And so if that could help you at all, that chapter of that book, it explains a lot, and it's coming from an independent, peer-reviewed person that felt the need to put it in a book because it was so controversial, and it was so. I mean, it's look at what came from that, you know, and so when people talk about when Morrissey reached out to go get the experts, okay, to see what the heck this does show, like why is this here? Obviously, Green didn't make it up, okay, and it was there and it represented falsely. And I think that something like that. Think about if roles were reversed and it was Jennifer McCabe who was in the defendant's chair. Like that would have and could have convicted her if she was the defendant, because it's an error. But you know how many times, so like that's what I want to take from it, is that I want to look into cases where that could have been used in the same situation where somebody's Googling something, and just because they opened up a tab, it looks like that they premeditated something. And here that's not, like, there was an issue and it's a systematic failure within that Cellbrite program, and it needed to be fixed. But it shouldn't. So when people are saying like, why would Morrissey go and be reaching out and emailing people about, that's exactly what he was supposed to do. So I just think that that's the wrong area to be like barking up the wrong tree there. I would stick with the taillight. I would stick with Sean Good leaving his body worn camera on. I would stick with where material was. Like you have now that we know who really Sean Good is, he was moving cars around and making it so that the dash cam wasn't ever put on that lawn when they were doing, like, they were blowing with the leaf blower and stuff like that. But it just sucks. It sucks because you can't ever believe in this investigation ever, because it was just so poorly done, and just John deserved way more than that. So like you just take out everybody besides just the investigators. They made it so that this case is not prosecutable, period. And that sucks, but that's the reality, because nothing's going to change whoever is in that defendant's chair. And they're going to go up against the same shitty investigation that Karen Reed went up against. She should have been acquitted, and anybody else who goes in that chair should be acquitted, because it does not pass the scrutiny of beyond a reasonable doubt. And if you truly believe that you're going to come out there and say that it does, then you best better have new evidence, because not off of the evidence that we saw is anybody getting convicted. They shouldn't. The investigation prevents that. So back over here to this imbecile.
Let me bring him up on stage. They can do it right. Oh, like Jim Sullivan is doing right. So that was his choice.
Okay.
And I'm like,
By a blogger. How many you heard? What he just tried to do to Lucky is what is no different than what Hank Brennan did by grilling Lucky about, were you intimidated by a blogger? How many times did Lucky have to say on this?
What? He thinks that John was grilling Lucky. Why aren't you playing that? Look at this. When I saw that he didn't even play anything to do with Lucky, look at that. I was like, he didn't even go over Lucky's, like, nope.
Saying no, I'm not intimidated by a blogger. It's like, stop trying to get Lucky to hate me. Lucky doesn't.
Stop trying fucking lucky to hate me.
And hate me. We're cool. Okay.
We're cool.
Lucky's a hero. I've said that a million fucking times. This is me, by the way. He didn't play this clip. How come you didn't play this clip, John? This is from August 8th, 2023. The day after I wrote the story about it. Let's see. This is where I kind of explain it. Listen to this.
So that was his choice. And I'm like, any more? So that was like, okay, who'd you talk to? That was like a sign of like, who'd you talk to before that? But he wouldn't talk to me. And so that was his choice. And I'm like, well, as far as I was concerned, it seemed like he was kind of helping to cover up. But I think I misinterpreted him. And I think he seems like an actually really nice guy who just really wants nothing to do with any of this. But unfortunately for Lucky, he doesn't have a choice because Karen Reed didn't sign up for any of this either. And, you know, whatever hardship Lucky's going through with this, like, just, I would encourage him to put yourself in Karen Reed's position. You know, would you want your loved ones to go through what she's going through? That's not fair. And you, my man, have the ability and the power to end this. Like, you are the seminal witness in this. And he, like I said, he was definitely the one who reported it. And so I'm like, so why does Michael Proctor must have interviewed Lucky, right? Like, nope, they've never spoken before. And like, which is just absolutely wild. You know, Proctor did not interview him because he knew that if he put it on record that he didn't see a body there, that
Gina is the family, is Lucky's family member. She's the one that reached out to me and told me to reach out to Lucky. That's how I got through. Gina, you know, like Lucky wanted, like, me and Lucky were fine.
Me and Lucky were fine, dude. This is how I treat everybody. Back up. Dude, what the fuck is going on? I just love this shit. Dude, man, like the fucking delusional shit that this man lives in. Me and Lucky are fine. I fucking tell people that they're fat pigs all the time, and they're like, we're cool. We cool. Okay, that's right. What an idiot.
And I explain it right there that I initially misunderstood. Like, I thought Lucky was like a Steve Scanlon.
Oh my God. This is 2 months later. June. This is in August. 2 months. 2 months later.
Initially, I thought that, like, he saw something that was beneficial, that was exculpatory to the Karen Reed, and that he was not. It's a fact that he was not. He ghosted the private investigator.
Somebody needs to start like writing your, like, you have no idea how to make your arguments. There was actually points that you could have used from what Lucky was saying, and you don't even use it, you idiot. Like, you need somebody to write your stories for you. Okay, you were doing a hell of a lot better when that was happening. But it also got you fucking, locked up. But that's what you took away from this shit? Like, Jesus.
David Yannetti probably was not going to be able to call him as a witness because they didn't know what he was going to say. I made Lucky feel comfortable.
What? What are you talking about?
Right here? Yeah. Dave McGrath. Yeah. Dave McGrath just disappeared off the face of the earth too after his wife started saying Karen Reed was guilty. And then he started like,
oh my God.
Proctor's friends, and when Lucky's wife, Michelle, tragically passed away, look who's there. Look how succubus. Chris Albert said, oh, you need some food? I'll help you out. Okay. This is Jill Daniels with Colin Albert's little brother, and Michelle Laughlin. What do I call him? Laughlin? It's Laughlin. With Brian's deceased wife, Michelle. So they know that. Like Chris Albert is going to exploit this relationship for all he can. And I think this is another reason he got on the board of selectmen, is because he wanted to be able to control this dude, And so there's his brother. Let's see. There's his brother Mike with Jill Daniels. And then again, this is the select board. Okay. I would like to point out, like, of the people up here,
he's saying in this live that Chris got on the select board could be able to control Lucky.
Chris Albert had his son inside 34 Fairview Road that night. Of the people up here, Chris Albert had his son inside 34 Fairview Road that night. Charles Duty had a daughter inside 34 Fairview Road that night. He's the town administrator and does not want to lose his job. I think that's his number one goal coming out of this. But I would say to Lucky Laughlin, first of all, my dude, you all will have, like, there is an army behind you.
Listen, if you were talking to him and you guys were cool, look at this. Why are you doing it like this? He doesn't even know the dates that he's actually saying that he talked to. I mean, he has no clue what the fuck he's talking about right now.
You're not going to let them do this. They will not dare reprimand you, fire you, nothing. They will do nothing. If they even attempt to make 1 hour less of time for him or hurt him in any way possible, I will have a mob, a swarm of thousands of people invading Canton City Hall, and we will occupy it. And we will never stop protesting. You think it's uncomfortable now? Wait till we start showing up your little leagues. Like, things are about to get.
Wait till we start showing up at your little leagues.
Really uncomfortable.
Look at this. Why is he playing this? Who found this to send to him to say, hey, I think you should play this? What the fuck is wrong with him? Whoever is sending you this, please, you need to stop. You're just not helping yourself. Like, this is just getting, I mean, are you doing this on purpose? Are you like planning on like entering like a Delulu, like padded room? Like, what are you doing? What is he doing?
And that's not my fault. That's your thing. If you lay a finger on Lucky Loughran, you are going to see. If you thought that Karen Reed courthouse spectacle was something, that was nothing, man. Do not touch Lucky Loughran. You heard it here first. Hands off Lucky Loughran. He is 100% protected. You will not do anything to him. And so I want to assure Lucky, if he's watching right now, they're not going to do anything to you, Lucky. They will do nothing to you because we have your back. And we're a million times more powerful than those cowards. Did you see what happened at the Canton Select Board meeting tonight? There is an army of your people in town actively revolting against authority right now, who are not putting up with this any longer, who are following every single aspect of this. We will not allow you to touch Lucky Loughran. You don't have to worry. You're going to keep your job, Lucky.
It's just amazing that it would be up to you and Turtle Riders to protect him and not say the U.S.
This idiot. It would just be amazing that it's just totally up to you and Turtle Riders to make sure that this. Who is this person?
John Como didn't play that part.
What part?
How come you didn't play that part, John?
Because that was after you already fucking got your fucking hands into it, you idiot. It was long past that. I don't know.
John Como? Let's call him right now. I'll call him right now.
What?
I'll call him.
He's calling people still.
Call me. Let's see. Call him right now. See if he answers.
Hi. I'm a call assistant recording this call for the person you are trying to reach. Please say who you are and why you're calling.
Aiden Carney, I am calling to confront John about disinformation online.
Confront? What an idiot. Confront, not call.
Please hold while I connect you. The person you're calling is busy now. I'll let them know you called.
Thank you.
If you would like to add a message, start talking after the tone. You can hang up when you're finished.
You could just hang up. It's okay.
Hi, John. It's Aiden Carney calling. Just giving you a buzz to talk about your YouTube presentation last night, in which you decided to air old footage from June of 2023 in front of Lucky Loughran, and just wondering why you chose that. And not anything else. I don't know. Like, why didn't you share the much later footage in which I literally say that hands off Lucky, we're going to protect Lucky? Why did you do that? So give me a call back, man. You were also at the Rolling Rally. And you were outside Chris Albert's Pizza Shop for several of my protests, so you were a witness to a lot of things. So give me a call back. I know you claim that you want justice for John and expose the McAlberts. Well, this is your chance. And so give me a call back. Thanks, man. Bye.
Thanks, man.
So I just found out.
What did you just find out?
I just got something in my email. Again, I don't want to make this Holden Police Department versus Meredith O Neil. I'll just read this. A show cause hearing was held on Monday, June 15th, at which time the Holden Police Department presented documentary evidence in the form of a statement of facts in support of application for criminal complaint written by Detective Todd Ventris, a Holden Police Department incident report. the recorded testimony of Aiden Carney and the affidavit of Nicholas Miller, aka Joe Flipperhead, to support its allegation that on October 14th, 2025, Meredith O Neil did willfully commit an interception or procure some other person to commit an interception or attempt to commit an interception of some wire communication. Okay, so this we had our probable cause hearing 2 weeks ago in Leominster District Court for the wiretapping charge. This is my first time reading this. They have come up with a ruling. Do you guys think the charges are going to go forward? Do you guys think? What do people think? Let's see what it says. The accused also testified at the show cause hearing, presenting testimonial evidence that she was present in a two-party state. I think she meant one-party state, Rhode Island, at the time of the recordings alleged to be the basis for the criminal complaint application. That Mr. Carney knew or should have known that he was being recorded by virtue of an announcement made on an individual's iPhone when either party to a phone conversation begins recording that conversation. Because that's what she claimed, that I knew I was being recorded. As well as documentary evidence in the form of the affidavit of Jennifer Altman, a printout of calls to the accused, allegedly made by Mr. Carney in September and October, whatever that would show, so it shows like calling her. The affidavit of Christy Schneider, a Holden Police Department, aka Christy Citroni, a Holden Police Department incident report consisting of a 2-page Holden Police narrative for Lieutenant Evan Parker, a Gmail printout of a communication from Parker to Miss O'Neil, and a text message purportedly from Karen Reed. Interesting. I got to see this. The probable cause standard. The complainant need only present, this is in quotes now, the complainant need only present a statement of accusation, which in the eyes of the magistrate is complete in terms of the elements of the crime and reasonable, believable in the terms of allegations. Probable cause exists where the facts and circumstances within the knowledge of the magistrate are enough to warrant a prudent person in believing that the individual has committed an offense. Probable cause is a relatively low threshold requiring only sufficiently trustworthy information to instill in a reasonable person the requisite belief of criminality. This is the same probable cause standard that the police apply in making an arrest and is lower than that for submitting a criminal case to a jury. This standard is also lower than the probable cause standard that is applied by a judge in a bind-over hearing. Since the magistrate's task is not to sit as fact finder, but to determine probable cause, the magistrate should avoid a simple weighing of the complainant's charges against the accused's defenses. So they're not there to litigate the facts of the case. The magistrate should first consider whether the complainant, the Holden Police Department statement, taken on its own, provides reason to believe that the accused committed the offense charges. If the magistrate finds that the complainant has established on the complainant's evidence of probable cause, this can has presented a prima facie, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Prima facie, goddammit. How do you not fucking know that?
Accused's evidence should result in denial of the complaint or lack of probable cause only if the accused completely discredits the complainant's credibility or establishes a defense on uncontroverted facts. So she has to be able to, at this hearing, establish a defense based on undeniable facts. Like they're not, I find that there is sufficient evidence to establish probable cause to issue a criminal complaint, and a summons will be issued for the appearance of the accused for arraignment. So there we go. So he's going to be charged with a felony. There we go.
Yeah, tomorrow, the 30th. Is that the 30th? So the moral of the story there that he just read is that Meredith is being charged with a felony. And that's just the charge, okay?
That, if you're going to illegally record somebody and try to set them up to get them to say something incriminating, don't post it on social media a month and a half later.
Says the guy who recorded Karen Reed.
That's just a word to the wise. Don't do
the guy who recorded C-Scan. Lucky. This is the guy that just records everybody. The lawyers.
Wait, don't do that yourself.
Don't do that yourself. Just have somebody else do it.
So
there's that.
Yes. So she's being charged with a felony. So again, there is a difference between recording someone and then recording someone to try to get them to say something for the purposes of then posting that recording on the internet in order to smear them.
What?
Because that's what happened here.
No, there is no difference of doing anything. You cannot record people. It's like the delusions of Turtleboy. You cannot record anybody without their knowledge and without their consent in a two-party state. Okay? It does not matter where you're at, they're at. Either one of y'all. I mean, woo! Unbelievable.
I had no idea I was being recorded on October 14th. This is right there in the middle of recording gate bullshit. And I knew at that point who was responsible for getting that, for making the recording of Karen Reed public. I knew who was, I'd figured it out by then, right? I had figured out that it wasn't Nurse Kim. It wasn't Jessica Machado.
Oh my God, he's still fucking going with this?
Or any of the other people that reportedly recorded me playing a recording. Okay? It couldn't have been any of them. I knew that. It could only be the person who had access to my Facebook Messenger. That's the only person that could have gotten out there. And I knew that.
Oh my God. Oh my God. He is bringing Karen Reed into this now. Oh my God. He's banking on the fact that Karen Reed will not go against him.
And I confronted that person and I told them, I know you did this, but I'm not going to make a big thing out of this. I just want you to admit it and be a human and just admit when you're wrong. That's it.
Oh my God.
I don't want anything from you. I just want you to admit it. And that conversation took place on October 13th. And that person then sent Nicholas Miller a text message that we entered into evidence in which she said that I should have said I should have wiretapped him and said I was in Rhode Island. That's what she said in the text message to Nicholas Miller, that AKA Joe Flipperhead, that I should have, what the word was wiretapped. And I'm sure Joe Flipperhead will share this text a million times today. Okay. That, and you know, that's what she said to him on October 13th. I should have wiretapped him and said I was in Rhode Island. The very next day, on October 14th, her and I spoke on the phone again. And I look back on that call now, and she says things like, are you saying you're going to get people to come after my job? And she's crying, and it was all by design. Everything on there is because she knew it was being recorded and I didn't. She was trying to jam me up on something. And she gets me to admit to the Karen thing, but guess what? Karen Reed and I are cool. Karen Reed, I've said sorry. Her and I have no issues. Her and I have much bigger fish to fry than this. Karen never wanted to, she was pissed. Karen was pissed. I understand why she was pissed, okay? I'd be pissed too if I was her in that situation. I get it. I get it. I get where her anger came from and my denial of it, okay? I get it, but that's between her and I, right? And she was pissed. And then it turned to a whole thing. And I think if we go back and do it differently, we both would. But the last thing Karen wants to do, Karen had zero intention of like, she was just pissed on a personal level. Not like, I want to fucking put this dude in jail over this. That's not what Karen wanted to do. But others tried to use her for that. And one of the people, the defense for this, as you just saw there, as you just read in that thing, was the Karen Reed thing. And that's how she tried to get out of it, saying, well, he recorded Karen Reed. Well, and so they had to call, the detective had to call her defense team up and ask them, do you want to press charges against them? And they said, no, we want nothing to do with this. I don't know why we're being dragged into this. Leave us alone. But we have much bigger fucking fish to fry over here. That's it. And so there's a gigantic difference between that. I never wanted.
Yeah, they would never press charges against you, Aiden, because of all the shit that you both have on each other. Duh. But this October 13th and 14th, 2025 conversations that you think happened in October, no, what you did way before that in August. I don't know why you're starting a timeline, October 13th and 14th of 2025. The real timeline, Aiden, starts in August of 2025, which I got them receipts. Don't fuck with the queen of timelines.
And that was being used, like she was saving that for a rainy day. I had no idea. She was saving that for a rainy day. That after she posted a video of me crying on the ground, she would share that. So anyway, it's a shame it came to that. It's a shame it came to that. But you know, it was wrong. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg too. I mean, that is just, there's much, much worse.
Oh my God, why is he lying?
I've not committed any crimes against this person. None. There was no restraining order. The restraining order that they wanted against me for a full year was denied. Because I didn't put anyone, I've never threatened her. I've never done anything like that. All I want to do is move on. That's it. Everyone should move on. That's it. Everyone should move on. If everyone just moved on, none of this shit would be happening. Everyone just needs to move on, period. But some people don't want to move on. And so when she posted that recording, I'm like, that's an illegal recording. So I don't know what's going to happen from here on out. Just being arraigned, I think they said July 30th. Okay. But a charge has been issued felony charge, which honestly, like I'm a little rattled by this because now I'm like thinking in my head, well, now what's she going to do? But so that is concern, like this actual fear, right? Like, what is this person capable of? I haven't shown you guys the forensic report yet. I've not, and that's for a reason. We're doing something else with the forensic report, but the forensic report is significantly more damaging about what happened on there. We have undeniable proof that my account, that 4 of my accounts, my 2 Twitter accounts, including my primary account, the Gmail account associated with my Twitter account, and the Gmail and my Facebook account, and the Gmail account, it's the same Gmail account associated with the Facebook account. All 4 of those things were hacked into. It's undeniable. It shows it right in the report. It says the exact device used by the person who hacked into the account at the exact times. And it shows what they did. And I took precautions to, like, change passwords on my Twitter account, change passwords on the Facebook account, and the threat actors, as they're called in the report, kept getting back in. They kept getting back into the account, and I could never figure out how they did that. But the forensic report is significantly more damaging. Like, what is this person capable of? I haven't shown you guys the forensic report yet. I've not, and that's for a reason. We're doing something else with the forensic report. But the forensic report is significantly more damaging about what happened on there. We have undeniable proof that my account, that 4 of my accounts, my 2 Twitter accounts, including my primary account, the Gmail account associated with my Twitter account, and the Gmail account and my Facebook account, and the Gmail account, it's the same Gmail account associated with the Facebook account. All 4 of those things were hacked into. It's undeniable. It shows it right in the report. It says the exact device used by the person who hacked into the account at the exact times. And it shows what they did. And I took precautions to, like, change passwords on my Twitter account, change passwords on the Facebook account, and the threat actors, as they're called in the report, kept getting back in. They kept getting back into the account, and I could never figure out how they did that. Until I realized that once you get into the Twitter account, you can see the email, the Gmail account associated with the Twitter account. And then you just hack into the Gmail account because you know my password. And you get into the Gmail account, and every time I change the password, you just change it right. You just go right back in. You just get right back in by going through the Gmail. And there is 0 reason for anyone besides me to log into my Gmail account.
That's not true. You have two-way authentication for Gmail. This is crazy. You guys, there is 2-way authentication, and at this stage in the game, you would have that on your, like, even if you're trying to get in from a device, then it has to approve. You get an email, and it says that you're trying to get in on this device. Do you recognize it? And when you respond by, like, clicking on, like, the link to say, like, yeah, like you recognize that device. So what the hell are you talking about, Aiden? You've lost yourself. But it tells me that you tried very, very hard to make it seem like you got hacked, which you've done so many times in the past. And that's what the prior bad acts is going to be about for 404 evidence. Wow.
I'm the only person who should have ever logged into that Gmail account. But I'm not the only person who logged into the Gmail account. Someone with an identical IP address using an iPhone 15 Plus logged into the same IP address and the same device and the same cookie session that was used to log into the Facebook account and the Twitter account. That exact same IP address logged into the Gmail account, the exact same one. The exact same one. And when you see the pattern, so I'm not IP address, IP address using an iPhone 15 Plus logged into at the same IP address and the same device and the same cookie session that was used to log into the Facebook account and the Twitter account, that exact same IP address logged into the Gmail account, the exact same one. The exact same one. And when you see the pattern, so I'm not posting, people are like, why haven't you posted the forensic report? Because not everything is content. Not everything is content. And sometimes you don't need to broadcast everything. And so there's that. And if I feel off right now, it's because I am. Because this whole thing is startling. And it's a couple things here. Today is the 2-year anniversary. My mother died. So like, there's just a lot of like things going on. And I see that shit last night with John Como. And it's just like, it's a lot. There's a lot. And so it's just like, because this is somebody that you cared about at one time. And you're like, well, you find out all the stuff that they were doing to you. And you had no idea. Like my phone call conversations with her were being recorded so that they could then be used against me. And I had no fucking clue this was going on. None. And then to hear in court, to hear her lie under oath and say that I knew I was being recorded. When you just know that's a lie. Of course I didn't know why would I admit to recording Karen Reed if I knew I was being recorded? Why the fuck would I do that? Why? That makes no sense whatsoever.
Oh my. And then he fucking admits it again. Oh my God. Why would I admit to recording Karen Reed if I thought I was being recorded? That's what, okay, guys, just so we're clear here. His timeline starts in October for a reason. Okay. But the real timeline starts in August. And Mama's got it. So yeah. Wow.
Why would I admit I was being, why would I know that? I had no clue that I was being recorded. And to see somebody just lie under oath like that. And then Jason Broyles got up there and he lied under oath. And he said the same thing. And Jen Altman wrote an affidavit in which she says, I told her I knew I was being recorded. And that's a lie. And now Jen Altman, this is all to try to prevent the charge from going forward. Well, now, if this were ever to make it a trial, Jen Altman's got to be cross-examined. So I'm happy that Jen Altman decided to involve herself in this. And we can talk about bias there, about why suddenly she's saying this. Anyway, I don't lie under oath. I admit the shit under oath. I tell the truth. It's really simple. And some people just have no problem lying under oath.
Oh
and that
my
to me is
God.
just
Oh my God. He's wild. I didn't even realize this the whole time. I didn't even have my mic on. I was using a different audio because I was doing something earlier. And thank you so much for somebody that actually wrote in the chat. And I saw that and I was like, oh my God, my mic is not turned on. So can you tell the difference now? Oh my God. And you guys, this is coming from the guy that lied in his affidavit and said that my live broadcast was Meredith in an affidavit. Thank you, Raw. Oh my God. I had no idea. And there was a reason though. Like as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my God, it's not plugged in because I had to do something earlier and I was messing around with something. Thank you. Wow. I cannot believe that he just said that. Coming from the guy that put in his affidavit that my channel, and he tried to trim it off and acted like my channel was Meredith's because he told the judge in that past hearing that basically the live that I did where it was the grand jury minutes. I mean, absolutely wild. Meredith didn't give me those fucking grand jury minutes. Give me an affidavit. Sorry, didn't happen. Didn't even fucking talk to Meredith, never talked to her. Sorry, that's what the evidence will show. That's the truth. But you told the judge that was Meredith's broadcast under oath.
Man, just wild. So like,
and you brought me in on your fucking bullshit and on your lies.
I'm happy about this. This is tragic. This is tragic that it's come to this. Just tragic. But anyway, let me read some turtle chats if we have any, because I got to go do shit. I'm going to go say bye to my kids because they're leaving in a couple hours for. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's like it's out there. So that means that somebody did a records request, obviously, and got them. You know, somebody did a records request and got those text messages.
Unbelievable. The other lie, we're going to close it out here. You guys, those text messages could not be FOIA'd. We're over here like FOIA / public request queens over here. Okay. This man is so full of shit. You could not perform a public records request. All right. And get the text messages that just all graced us today. All right. Sorry, that did not happen. This is a lie.
And hold on a second. Is this guy fucking for real right now? Are impounded. They're under protective order. And I'm like, how the fuck did he? I have no idea how he got these. Saw him today. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, you can retweet shit. It's out there. It's in the internet sphere now. You know, it's like it's out there. So that means,
Yeah, he retweeted it.
Means that somebody did a records request, obviously, and got them. You know, somebody did a records request and got those text messages. And hold on a second. Is this guy fucking for real right now? Yeah, someone did a records request and got those messages, which means why are they under protective order for me and no one else? Like, well, how come the internet can just get them, but I can't post them? Like, that makes no sense. Which ironically strengthens our argument about why none of this shit should be impounded. None of this shit should be impounded.
Unbelievable.
I'm sure that's how they got them out. And so it's getting to be crunch time, you know, and I play to win. I take things seriously, right? This is not a joke to me. And we got a lot of work to do. So I thank volunteers that have been combing through hours and hours of my old videos, putting together spreadsheets. You guys are immensely, I'm forever grateful to you guys, the people that are doing the shit like that. It's just amazing. So thank you so much. But, you know, we're going through and we're just finding intent. That's what they have to remember. Read the statute. Intent or with the reckless disregard for the fact that it may obstruct an ongoing criminal proceeding, blah, 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 blah. Intent or reckless disregard for the fact that it may. And, you know, nothing I did falls into either of those categories. Like I couldn't make my intent clear in video after video after video. I make my intent clear. I say it before I was ever arrested, before I knew that I was going to be charged with this bullshit, before I even knew what the witness intimidation statute was.
What? Come again?
Like I couldn't make my intent clear in video after video after video. I make my intent clear. I say it before I was ever arrested, before I knew that I was going to be charged with this bullshit, before I even knew what the witness intimidation statute was. How could I have? Because you said that just because you knew you were on video. Bitch, I had no idea I was getting arrested. How would I have the foresight to know that? You know?
Love it. He said, before I even knew what the witness intimidation statute was. Oh my God, what a fool. That's all we've been showing over here is how his pattern of behavior is the witness intimidation statute, is the wiretapping, and he knows exactly what it is. He utilized it against and weaponizes it all the time. Wow. Oh my God, what a... I mean, he just lies. He just lies.
But anyway, so we got a lot of work to do, man. And I don't know if I pinned or monetized this video or put I'll do that. I'll be home in like 10 minutes, but and I'll be on my computer. I can do that. I will go over the messages that I retweeted this morning. So you might have noticed in our motion that you know, to unimpound messages, that several Proctor messages are impounded, so they're like redacted in there. You can't see them. I have no idea how this happened, but Grant Smith-Ellis yesterday tweeted, Hell News tweets a picture of a snippet from the motion to unimpound, which is redacted. There's like several redactions in just one paragraph in it. And then he posts above that 3 screenshots of text messages from Yuri Buchanan's perspective with Michael Proctor. Right? What the fuck's going on there? Yeah. Yuri Buchanan with Michael Proctor. Why are there a million fucking cars going so slow? I'm stuck behind a guy going 5 miles an hour right now. Anyway, not from Grant, Aiden. Yeah. So Grant shared screenshots of the messages that are impounded, that are under protective order. And I'm like, how the fuck did he? I have no idea how he got these. Saw him today. Like, what the fuck? I mean, you're like, how the fuck did he? I have no idea how he got these. Saw him today. Like, what the fuck? And I'm like, how the fuck did he? I have no idea how he got these. Saw him today. I'm like, what the fuck? From Yuri Buchanan's are impounded, so they're like redacted in there. You can't see them. How would I have the foresight to know that? You know, but clear in video after video after video. I make my. How could I have? Because of like, well, you said that just because you knew you were on video. Bitch, I had no idea I was getting arrested. How would I have the foresight to know that? You know. But anyway, so we got a lot of work to do, man. And I don't know if I pinned or monetized this video or put the. I'll do that. I'll be home in like 10 minutes, but and I'll be on my computer. I can do that, but and I will go over the messages that I retweeted yet this morning. So you might have noticed in our motion that to unimpound messages, that several Proctor messages are impounded, so they're like redacted in there. You can't see them. I have no idea how this happened, but Grant Sirtelis yesterday tweeted. Towel News tweets a picture of a snippet from the motion to unimpound, which is redacted. There's like several redactions in just one paragraph in it. And then he posts above that 3 screenshots of text messages from Yuri Buchanan's perspective with Michael Proctor. Right? What the fuck's going on there? Yeah. Yuri Buchanan with Michael Proctor. Why are there a million fucking cars going so slow? I'm stuck behind a guy going 5 miles an hour right now. 5. There is no one on the fucking road. What are we doing, pal? Anyway, not from Grant, Aiden. Yeah. So Grant shared screenshots of the messages that are impounded. They're under protective order. And I'm like, how the fuck did he? I have no idea how he got these. Saw him today. Like, what?
I saw them today. I saw
Protective order. And I'm like, how the fuck did he? I have no idea how he got these. Saw him today. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, you can retweet shit. It's out there. It's in the internet sphere now. You know, it's like it's out there. So that means that somebody did a records request, obviously, and got them. You know, somebody did a records request and got those text messages. And hold on a second. Is this guy fucking for real right now? Yeah, someone did a records request and got those messages, which means why are they under protective order for me and no one else? Like, well, how come the internet can just get them, but I can't post them? Like, that makes no sense. Which ironically strengthens our argument about why none of this shit should be impounded. None of this shit should be impounded. But I'm sure that's how they got the messages. I have no idea. They didn't say it, but it is 3 in a row of the messages. They're in black and white. But, well, someone had access to them. I mean, I have no idea.
they're in black and white. They wouldn't have been for the original. They would have been in color. Fuck yes, bitches. Woo-hoo-hoo, mama.
Yeah, this is I have no idea where. I assume it's a records request. I'm assuming. Grant retweeted it from someone else. Okay, there we go. I don't know, but either way, you can see what they say on there. There's no reason any of that should be impounded. You guys have seen the messages then, right? There's no reason any of that shit should be impounded. Michael Proctor on January 28th gets mad because I talked about his mother. This is Michael Proctor in a nutshell. He called my mother a cunt, he says. This is in January 28th, 2025, after he's testified at the Karen Reed trial and read his disgusting, vile text messages about Karen Reed, including ones in which he called her a cunt, right? And read them all out loud. So he knows that, like, oh shit, everything I put in writing, because they can see this shit. And so he sends them like a screenshot of one of my messages, it looks like, of one of my tweets, in which I call his mother a cunt, because I forget what his mother did. It was something like I roasted her real good, because his mother sucks. His mother's a whore. In the comments being like, Karen Reed is guilty. One time I the chat and I just unloaded on her. Anyway, so I called her a cunt and all sorts of other things. And she then, or Proctor, believe it. He's like, oh my God, he said that about your mom. And then he's like, we're going to get him. Karma's going to get him. And then, like, he seems like, oh, don't worry, he's going to get him. We're going to put him in jail. I don't know the exact words he used. It was something to that effect. And he's like gleeful about it. It's like, Proctor was disgraced at that point, and Yuri is still like talking to him like they're best pals. That's why I'm sure they still talk today. Don't worry, Mikey. He's like, don't worry. I'm sorry this happened to you, Mikey. Sorry, what happened? You can call people a cunt. It's not a.
This dude's delusional. This dude's delusional as fuck. Holy shit. Jesus Christ. Wow. 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 So I tweeted out and said that I would like to interview Grant Smith Ellis. It said, Grant Smith Ellis would love to interview you about your work in the Karen Reed case. Please email me. Good luck with that. Don't forget, he was the brained child behind LG trying to sue Cosgrove. I have a reason. Come on, Grant. Get out of bed. There's a huge ass thing. Huge ass thing that I guess filed. Like him and his mom are having some. That's none of my business, you know.
Legal to call your mother a cunt. Are you kidding? Say bad words on the job, in the capacity of his job, and all that stuff. He was always. I'll retweet it.
Be on there at 7 o'clock. Various. I don't know. I'd have to.
In the chat.
Yeah,
Hold on.
This.
This is a sad attempt at being clever. Is this what I'm really seeing right now? I can't. So I go in their chat today and I'm like, hey, maybe return my text message, right? Because she doesn't. So in the never. Okay.
So Cheryl, she commented.
What the fuck?
Like I have zero time to look into any. And quite frankly, I have no time for any news here. Like I have zero time to look into anything like that. So I'm not going to be doing that. And I'm going to let her know that. But I'll be happy because I have to be focused. I have to be focused on the task at hand, and that is my case. Like that's the priority. Like it has to be. So she commented somewhere on here. Like this is the comment.
Tell me, Cheryl, when are we going to talk about this?
She leaves a comment.
Never.
What the fuck
Okay.
is
So
this?
Cheryl is her name, and she's like,
Your choice. Oh wait, Cyberchick in the chat.
Yeah,
Hold on.
This.
This is a sad attempt at being clever. Is this what I'm really seeing right now? I can't. So I go in their chat today and I'm like, hey, maybe return my text message, right? Because she hasn't responded to my text message. So I'll get her.
Yeah, remember, she was out. She wasn't a mod anymore. She's out. She's ghosting her, moving on. Because again, the comment that she left, the one comment was,
What the fuck are we talking about? How do we go to cyber chickens and Jesus
No
Christ,
name calling.
Eden, what are you doing?
Who said no name calling? About what? Lips? Fuck them. Cyberchick, are you a Democrat? Did I not know this about you? Wait, I need to know, Cyberchick. Was it you saying me? Were you telling me no name calling? Cyberchick, I'm very disappointed. You can't tell me what to do. You're a mod. You didn't know that. I 100% will name call.
Wait, cyber chick
All day, every
often
day.
is a
So,
mod and it's a fake
I don't know exactly what's going on in
AI.
this I'm
What?
about 30 seconds away from shutting the live stream down. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a little off put by Cyberchick telling me not to do something. No offense. And if you're sensing me just being a little weird right now, it's just I don't like that. If you feel that way, then you can message me privately. But
Why
please don't
is
tell
he
me what to do on my
covering
stream. It's my
this?
stream, and I will say whatever I want. I don't care if you think that I should. I have made this space.
and I saw this. I'm like, this video reminded me that like, oh yeah, I also ghosted this person. So I like to, that's it. So that's why I'm going on with her. I'm going to be interviewing, but I want to make it clear. I'm not interested in talking with any of these people about the Jess Machado stuff.
Wait, what?
But I'd be lying if I said that, like, especially with Cyberchick, like I was reminded of that. I'm like, oh yeah, that chick used to fucking email me and I ghosted her and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, that's why I'm going on Cyberchick's thing. And people are like, you're bringing up drama, ignore it. I'm going to. I'm not, have you heard, I'm not opining on any of it. I'm not getting into any of it. I'm just saying that I felt bad because I never got back to this chick, this cyber chick. And, that's it. I'm going to interview with her. But I'm not talking about the Machado stuff.
What the
And
fuck?
when I go on with Megan Fox tonight, I'm not talking about the Machado stuff. So,
What the
I've
fuck is
been on with
going
Megan
on
Fox
here?
before.
Who?
She interviewed
What
me,
is
like
this?
I said, between the first and second trial, I believe, with Tug, that umbrella guy. And she really has been following this case for a long time. She's in with all like the, MLS, Dave from MLS, Making Law Simple, Valhalla, like she knows all them. And so that is what I'm doing. So that we're going to keep it professional. You know, keep it professional. So, but I did feel bad. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I suddenly decided to go on Cyber Chick's thing. Like, oh yeah. No, I was reminded of this when I saw this video and I had no idea any of this shit happened.
Fucking shoot
I
me.
didn't know any of this shit went down. And so I'm like, well, I don't want to be a dick too. You know what I mean? And
What are you talking about? What are you rambling about? What the fuck is going on? Oh my God. Someone send him a box of fucking tampons, some pads. I mean, what a little girl.
Boy Live. All right. PC Bunkers. Outie.
Okay. Wow. I don't even have words. I don't even know what to say about any of that shit. Like, woo. Wow. Ah, my God. Awesome. Sweet. Great. Mainstream media isn't covering anything to do with either one of these people. Mind blowing. Literally mind blowing. Mind blowing. Yeah. So semi leak shit. That's gonna be handled tomorrow. They have to write up their affidavits and let each other know who gave out what. I believe that has to do with like the whole Proctor privacy stuff that, you know, his affidavit that he filled out back on June 8th. That's why it's specific to just basically this happened June 8th, you know, on in that little section. What else? I think that's everything that I wanted to cover with this. Aiden ghosted Cybertrick back in December, and all of a sudden he wants to go on her show now, but no one is dumb. It's obvious because of Jess. He's a baby. Who has time for that shit? Like, who? He doesn't have what? No offense. I don't care about dick. No dick. Hey, sorry, I guess I ghosted you. See you on the flip side. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. Gifted 5 to the transparency memberships. Thank you so much. Kay Schmidt. Lana, please straighten us out of this Willy Wonka chocolate factory ride he started us on. Thank you so much, Real Tea with Kristen or Krista Marie. Psh. Trolls be trolling. He's the biggest one. Damn. Lana, what do you think? Who leaked? I mean, I don't think it came from Paul O'Keefe, right? I don't think it came from that side. You got the bars and you got Karen. Who put it out? How about that? Where did this rumor originate? I forget. I remember back when this all happened, there was somebody that came out with it first. Like there was like this rumor of what it was. And when your rumor turns out to be like on the money, it's like, where'd it come from? TB is the one taking leak on his book cover. I just don't see Karen Reed giving Aiden that information. You know what I mean? So I believe that if, let's say, Let me actually read something really quick. Each plaintiff and defendant and each counsel with a notice of appearance in this matter, so the counsel has to as well, shall file with the clerk on or before 4:30 p.m. on Tuesday, June 30th, a certification under the pains and penalties of perjury as to all facts known to them as to any dissemination to anyone other than parties and counsel in this matter. Like, what do you know of any of the contents of the material that was impounded by order issued on June 8th? Personally, what I see happening though is number 3 is when it says all further attempts to take discovery from the party whose information was the subject of the order of impoundment is precluded pending further orders of the court. That means everything's being halted with Proctor and any type of discovery that's being asked upon him. So sanctions could present from this, and it would, but it's like, right? These acts, these acts could make it so that everything gets shut down with Proctor. And so if that was to happen, then you have to possibly look at which would be I would call it like a double leak, which is leak it yourself. If it's about you, cry wolf about it and blame it on other people. But if they're going to be following paper trails with that, there's reason to believe that didn't happen. I don't know why they continue to play these games. Think about this. If this is your life on the line, right? I'm not giving anything out. So I'm not giving anything to anybody. I could see somebody talking about it, but so that's it's the material. So that's why I wanted to look at the, as to any dissemination to anyone, any dissemination. So disseminating the information, here's the affidavit, but just the information, period. And I believe who was talking about it was loophole lawyer. How would Karen benefit? Karen doesn't benefit, but if it would be something where it's again, I don't know what the material said, but let's say that it's here, look at Proctor's shitting and pissing himself in some fucking, rehab play, whatever he's doing, he entered himself. I don't know, but I'm saying if it's something that could be used to humiliate somebody, right? That's we're going to let certain people know about that because X, Y, and Z. You guys, this is the thing, is that Turtleboy is not part of that case. So he wasn't given the information on so everybody has to understand that you can be the person to leak it. So let me put this back up. Let me explain this. You can't, Turtleboy was never originally given the material. And so then therefore your leak is whoever put it out, that's the person who leaked the information, but they're not in violation of anything. This is the same thing that happened in the Brian Culver case. Okay, there's a non-dissemination order, basically. There's a protective order, this stuff is impounded. Whatever came out on June 8th, that material, which has nothing to do with these text messages, that's not what this is about. Okay, and so let me tell you something. Now, I think this is really, really interesting. Ready? So why does everybody, now knowing what I know, it's really telling that the day before we get this motion, or I should say this order, we find out about this today. This is filed today. The day they're trying to say I thought that Grant Smith Ellis did his little tweet about the texts today. Aiden Kearney is trying to say in his live that Grant put them out yesterday. Okay. The texts, Proctor texts. The Proctor texts have nothing to do with this. Nothing whatsoever. And so it's interesting that those would come out yesterday. Again, how did those come out? He's lying and saying it came out from a public record. The fuck it did. No, it did not. So, but you're making it try to seem like it's almost like they knew that this was coming, because this is just an order that was verbalized and then it was made into this piece of paper. So I believe that this was verbalized, okay, prior, and then this order here is being written for what we get for the filing was just today, but this was told to people orally, potentially through even emails, and then somebody thought that it would be a really good idea because this is what they do. It's misdirection. And it's like, okay, let's leak the text messages. Okay, let's leak the text messages from Proctor. And then we're going to have people believing and thinking that this is about those text messages. And it's not. Because when I see people saying in here that the person that did this was Turtleboy, that's not even one of the people that could have potentially done it. He's not a party in this case. So the people that have to fill out these affidavits to talk, like, these are the people that were provided the information. And that would be like Paul O'Keefe representing the plaintiffs. Then you have Reed, CF McCarthy's. Where the fuck is, I mean, who filled this out? Like, not everybody's even on there. So that leaves you with the Bars and Karen Reed. That's who Paul O'Keefe sued. The family sued the Bars and Karen Reed. So it would either have to come from Karen Reed or the Bars. And so it says, but I think everybody should really, really focus in, though. What Aiden would do is to help and confuse people and to not point towards Karen Reed here is let's divert away from all that and let's go ahead and drop these text messages and confuse people. That's what I think people should consider. See where it says at all? It's including then. I had to like zoom in. At all, and it has right there. It says individually as a personal representative of the estate of John O'Keefe. And then it says number 3 is GSS Hospitality LLC, CF McCarthy's Waterfall Bar, and Karen Reed. So somebody was like, I'm not writing all that shit out, but I'll go ahead and write it out in a footnote. And so that's who you're dealing with. So the people then have to write this affidavit basically to say, hey, I have to give any personal knowledge. So how I would write mine is I have no personal knowledge of it. Okay. Like, I don't know that so you need what he's asking for and putting it on the record here. So let me just tell you something. This is not a good sign for Karen Reed. This is horrible for Karen Reed. Because of everything that I was trying to tell you guys in the order on how stuff happened. The real timeline is that Karen Reed's attorneys circumvented the courts way back in 2023 and used Aiden, gave him the information on the federal investigation so that he would then write about it. And then they went ahead and cited him to be able to bring it into the courts. That is misconduct. Okay. You cannot fucking do that. That is candor to the tribunal. Like, you are fucked. All right. But they couldn't prove it. at that point and at that time. They could be speculative of it. But then when they got everybody's phone records, it became even more like there's overwhelming evidence that this happened, because Karen Reed and Turtleboy and the lawyers were all adamant that they were never talking. Why? Because of that they were adamant to say that they were never talking, because then that was like Turtleboy could have never had them as the source for the federal investigation that he wrote about. That was really, really big. And then finally they think, well, Turtleboy thinks like, okay, I'm just going to like let everything out because he's pissed off at people. And so he lets it all out that Matt Gutman and Voss were actually not lying. And Aiden Carney did have a relationship with them, and it mounted way back when. But more importantly, that Aiden Carney comes out and says to the world how great Alan Jackson is and how genius he is, because Aiden doesn't know the rules, or he wants to act like he doesn't know the rules, that Alan gave me the info. Like, he tells me about the federal investigation, then I write about it and they use me in court. You can't fucking do that. And so he's basically blowing up his own spot with them in the same, like, put a bomb to them, and boom, he's blowing himself up while he's blowing up Karen Reed's spot. But this is exactly what Tully put in the motion, or not in the motion, but to be able to get Karen Reed's phone record, or to be able to seize her phones. This was all in that search warrant. Karen Reed's phones are going to be coming up here in just a couple weeks. No one's really talking about it, and people probably should. I believe it's the 13th. And Costco is making a push about getting into those phones still. So this doesn't look good for Karen Reed. But like I said, the only way that I don't see that it would be Karen Reed's team is if people from the bars, if they just happen to just like not realize that, oh wait, I just mentioned it, and who did I mention in the presence of, and then this person was like, took it and was like, oh my God, yeah, Proctor, blah, blah. But the judge has basically stayed Proctor in discovery, and that's not good. That's horrible. Horrible. Bad. And then he could put sanctions on it. He could say that you went ahead and violated this, so like, because you did that, then this person's, material, fuck, I mean, I'd ask a lawyer how far they can go with that. I mean, a judge you can sanction people for shit. Queen of the Pool says their strategy is to cause Karen the most expense possible. When I found out and did my own research that Karen Reed's insurance is paying for shit. It's paying for this. That's why they delay and reschedule depots all the time. Who are you talking about? Karen Reed is the one that's canceling her depositions. This is costly for Karen. The others are the ones who benefit. I completely disagree because the facts don't support that statement. The judge is fed up. Okay. But you guys, this is what lawyers do. Like, this isn't, you need to stop looking at this like Karen Reed or Paul O'Keefe or the bars. Lawyers are running up the bill on whoever the fuck is paying. That is not we're doing this to Karen Reed. Like, civilly, this court shit, like the whole like Bev doing whatever, like, this is civil. This is these lawyers. It is a huge fucking circle jerk and money grab. And this judge isn't having it, which is amazing to the clients, because lawyers like to play games because it's all the best way I can describe it is that if you go into the courtroom with your significant other or soon to be ex and you're like, we want a divorce, we just want to split everything 50-50, blah, blah. Who's signing up to be your lawyer? Well, that's the quickest thing ever. I'm only going to make $5,000. You know, when you are hostile with one another and you go and get your separate attorneys, then the attorneys immediately want you to fill out these affidavits to tell you how much money you're worth and how many assets, what do you have in assets and how, like your house, all this, all that. And then they're able to do a percentage to see how much you're actually worth to them and how long they can drag this out. Because it's like anything. If I have, let's say, 40 cases, 20 cases, you're doing the math on it, and then you know how much money you're, you know, because I'm going to charge, basically, it's the averages. You know, let's just say $15,000 for each one. And I had 20 cases that year. Do the math on how much money you would make. But this is what, so I just think that we need to stop blaming the clients. Okay. Same thing in the other civil cases. These lawyers, who the hell puts all these lawyers on each side? And then we have to schedule stuff around all these lawyers' schedules. Are you fucking kidding me? So as a client here, you want a judge to lay down the law like this. We're not going to be doing any of this funny business. We're not fucking around. Why aren't these depositions done? What's going on? Damn, you're telling me I can't get divorced. I just recommend if you get divorced to do it together and split everything 50-50. When you do everything 50-50 and you do it the right way, the fair way, y'all don't leave. You want to walk away from a divorce whole. Okay, not empty. And the only way that happens if you're, otherwise the courts just make the money. And not the court, the lawyers, they take every fucking thing. So, but I disagree with, and Proctor's plan worked perfectly again. They had Proctor on the ropes. They were able to depose Proctor the next day. Okay, so Proctor's plan didn't work out at all. If you think that there was a plan, okay? How could you not be ready to do a deposition that you would probably be planning on there being at least 2 days? Made no sense why they could not start the deposition the following day. Because why it doesn't make any sense to me is that I would have scheduled and had myself prepared if I'm having Proctor that I'm going to have that day, the next day, and then I wouldn't be flying out to like Wednesday because I'm deposing on, you know, Monday, Tuesday, even potentially like Wednesday, and then I fly out, you know, in the afternoon on Wednesday. Why would you fly in town and do all that to only have 1 day of depositions? Like, what fucking lawyer logically would ever do anything like that? Or any client allow that? Because I'm not paying like that. That doesn't make a lick of sense. Financially, logistically, sorry. So there wouldn't, to me, they're just, why would there only have been 1 day that you were planning and then I'm going to fly back out on Tuesday? You know? And remember, that was right before, because on that Friday, they went on that tour out to New York to go do whatever, Good Morning America, the Today Show, whatever the fuck they did. They did it on a Friday. And then they had deposition on Monday. And on Friday, that news came down, and then they were like writing motions back and forth on that weekend. And then Monday they had a, you know, the judge was like, I'm not, like, yeah, no, produce your client. Like, you need to supplement this affidavit more, blah, blah, give you till 4:30. He wasn't having it. And then he said, produce your client tomorrow. And then here's the Reed team saying like, well, we're not, tomorrow doesn't work for us. What? And even the people that are law tubers couldn't believe that, who are like the big Karen Reed law tubers, which it was nice to see because it would just blow your mind if you're like arguing the other way in something like that. So I just think that these lawyers are running up the bill. And if the insurance company, I mean, I have no idea how much they're paying, if they're paying for all of it or what's happening here. But I know that Karen Reed's insurance company, Alan Jackson had to come out and talk about that. And he said that, and he made a comment about it. I think it was really important to say for transparency and clarity. Because why would anybody be donating to a civil fund if the insurance company is paying for that? And it's like, yeah, the insurance company is paying for this one. This is the wrongful death. Karen Reed suing the police, the Massachusetts State Police, the Canton Police, and then the House defendants, Commonwealth witnesses. That's separate. And that's where that fund would be going to. If I'm Karen Reed, I would have never sued the House defendants. I would have just sued the police, sued the Massachusetts State Police, and the reason being is they're going to try to settle with you, right? Or if they fight, I mean, like, you have a lot of shit on your side, and why just money? Life's too short. That's just me, though. I would have sued the shit out of the police. But that's where. Mm-hmm. What insurance? Auto insurance? Yeah, her auto insurance is. Mm-hmm. Because remember, this is about the Lexus. They're saying that Karen Reed and the Lexus did this. So her car insurance is paying for that. So I just think that life's too short. And they're over here talking about how we want to hold people accountable and blah, blah. Well, citizens don't have the power. Sorry, but they just don't. The police do. And I just see the case a little bit differently. I see the case coming from the Canton Police Department right away. And I think that that's really interesting, considering where John and Karen's vehicle was before they got to 34 Fairview, or before John's phone got to 34 Fairview, technically. They were on Oakdale, and Oakdale has at least 2 or 3 Canton Police Department folks that live there. Lank being one of them, the canine officer being the other. Canine as in dog, so those of you guys that all about the dog. And that's where all John's steps and flights of stairs happen. So, and Carrie Roberts making that call to Sean Good and him talking about there was a blizzard party. Yeah, but I was stuck here. What blizzard party? What blizzard party are you talking about? Well, maybe there was a blizzard party. Maybe we're not talking about what was going on at the Alberts. Maybe we're talking about what was going on at, Brian Hamilton's, or Karen had talked earlier with friends about even going. Maybe we're talking about something over there on Oakdale. So I just think that you can't get justice for John O'Keefe even if you think that Karen did it, even if you think that somebody else did it, because of the investigation. And that's where the blame needs to stay. And I think that John O'Keefe deserved better from his fellow law enforcement folks. And that's just it, period. Lana, so you think Karen is guilty? I didn't say that. I didn't say that once. I'm saying that there's no evidence that's able to withstand the scrutiny of cross-examination and that threshold of guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I wouldn't be able to find Karen Reed guilty. I wouldn't be able to find Jenna McCabe guilty. I wouldn't be able to find anybody guilty if I was a juror, because the evidence cannot withstand the scrutiny of, and then that high beyond a reasonable doubt. So, and I think that if you remove people, so like the other day when someone said that this is so personal for me, and I'm like, what are you talking about personal for me? I don't know any of these people. I can't stand corruption. Like, we fight that here, but as much as we fight corruption, oh fuck, we fight for our rights. And every single person involved has rights here. And the police officers in this case, in the Karen Reed case, trampled over all of our civil rights, to include the House defendants, to include every single person that was a witness. They just didn't give a fuck in a murder investigation, supposedly, when they called it a murder. It was an unattended death. And nobody just gets to walk all over our rights. And everybody gets that benefit. Not just Karen Reed, everybody. So you look no better if you want Karen Reed to be cloth like I do. She is innocent until proven guilty. Everybody is innocent until proven guilty. And that's how everybody should be treated. And just because the Commonwealth and the police officers act a certain way, we don't fight corruption with corruption. Period. We don't go and employ PR and propaganda and start acting the way that Turtleboy acted in this whole fucking thing and make a Boston cops murder case a fucking ratchet madness bracket with, you know, him going and just ignoring every statute that Massachusetts has to protect witnesses. And hey, he knows his own statutes. He lives there. He knows them. He's used them before. He's exploited them before. He's benefited from them before. He knows them. He knew what he was doing. So. So I think when people have valid points and opinions on the evidence, and it can go either way, right? Then the way that it should go is that means that there's reasonable doubt there. Sherry gifted 5 Truth and Transparency memberships. Sherry D, baby. Lana breaking it down, spitting in facts. Yeah, but you're never going to see anybody talk about the goddamn case. All you hear is all this, because the Turtle Riders and all those supporters, you guys, they don't have the capacity in the brain space to actually talk and listen and break down the case of Aiden Carney in the true timeline of events. Do you guys think for a second that Alan Jackson and David Yannetti and Alan Jackson's plethora of resources, to include his right-hand woman, you're telling me that you don't think that they vetted and knew who Aiden Carney was before they just allow him to come into their circle of life? I thought about that for like, I was like, maybe they just didn't realize what he was like until it was too late. And I was like, I can't give, like, that would be like me treating Alan Jackson like a first year lawyer if I believed that. This is a guy that put together a huge, massive PR campaign for Harry Weinstein. So, yeah. Again. But I don't fault Karen Reed for fighting however she wants to fight for her life when she's in that defendant's chair. But Karen Reed isn't upheld to the same oaths that lawyers are. And so you're no better than the corruption you say that you're fighting. But really, was there this corruption? Where did this federal investigation come from? Was it a hoax of an investigation? That it was just like, here, yeah, we're going to act like we're going to be doing something, but really we're not. Nothing came from this federal investigation, nothing. But in Sandra Birchmore, the feds found a way to bring up Matthew Farwell on charges. They had to get creative with that. They got him on wire, like, basically because of his paychecks. That's creativity. That's awesome what the feds did in that situation. Now think about this. In this situation, Aidan Carney and the lawyers knew that the feds were never after any of these witnesses. It was always to investigate the investigation. Like, what did, the people that were the police, okay? But that's not how Aidan Carney went about it. How he went about it is that people are getting arrested, like Jennifer McCabe, and I knew that there was, a black SUV out on her, on the side of her house, saying all that is intimidating. Wait, you're saying that the feds are coming? Wait, what? What's going on? And then here, Jennifer McCabe is like, wait, how does he know about this? There was just a fed at my house, or there was somebody sitting out, or wait, what's going on here? Like, you don't think that that's intimidating? And it's not because that would be intimidating upon anybody. They did it to Gabriela Vargas in the Idaho 4 case. You don't just, they used that federal investigation to witness. Aiden used it to witness intimidate. And if Cosgrove does not show it that way, that's going to be because that's the truth. That's what he did. And the people in the office that were supposedly like looking into this, like who was in charge of this federal investigation, who put together a federal grand jury, right? And none of those people, the House defendants, had to talk to the feds. You don't have to talk to anybody. Fed, no fed, regular cop, city cop, state cop, ranger, marshal. They all talked. Recently here, James Sullivan has come forward and said that Proctor wrote in a report that I said Karen was toasted, and I never fucking said that. Well, guess what Jennifer McCabe and the other people have said? That they didn't say stuff to Proctor either. And people think that they're lying about that. It's like, I don't think that they're lying at all. I don't think they're lying at all. I think Proctor's lazy as fuck. He didn't record his fucking his interviews. How are you supposed to remember any of this shit? He's getting shit wrong. He's not. I mean, who knows what the fuck he's writing down? Like, you didn't record any of these interviews. You didn't let people. Hey, come down to the police department, fill out a statement form. Okay, then I'll interview you in the room. We have the video recording going. We have this, so we have to get everything. So this is, you don't have to talk to us, but we're hoping that you will. Like, you're a witness here. Like, what do you mean? So Have a nice evening, folks. Lana's paying the bills, in my opinion. Paying what bills? I have 332 people here. Nobody shows up for my fucking lives with Turtleboy. This case doesn't do anything like that. I talk about this case because I talk about the facts of this case. If anybody knows my channel, when I'm covering anything but this, I have over 1,000 people. So that's just asinine. I'm not going to lie. After I went ahead and I did my own research and saw that, wow, Lucky, there's reports of Lucky. He has definitely hit things in his past. Okay. And so when you hear people say, oh, he was going to blame it on Lucky, or they were going to pin it on Lucky, and then, then they decided to pin it on Karen. When did that exactly happen? How about you're the police and you know how many times things just go unsolved or, Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. 5 Truth and Transparency memberships going out to some 5 lucky people. Raw's like, I know your channel. That's how I knew the mic was off. Thanks, Raw. I appreciate that. Oh, there we go. Somebody snatched one up. Keep covering. Only way we get to the truth. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm always going to be that way about it. I'm sorry, but I think it's really compelling evidence, guys. And I'm a big person on digital evidence. John's phone stopping the way that it did, and you're not justifying, like that should be a problem for a lot of people. And then, everybody put all this faith into what Arca said. And unfortunately, I just don't think Hank Brennan did a good enough job. I would have wanted everybody to know where Arca came from. My approach would have been different. My approach would have been, I want everybody to know where Arca came from. And I want to know, and I would want everybody to know how this federal investigation started. I think Proctor is absolutely, I don't care what happens to him. Should he be charged? Should he be this? I think all of his cases should be reviewed. Like that's just like off the rip. Any case that he was involved in. People think that he was involved in Aiden's case, like he just wasn't. But I don't think that you see people supporting, the way that Proctor and Sean Good have been conducting themselves. I think that, how does... It's unfucking believable, right? But I think that what it should show is that that's all. Those guys being that way shows me that it's still alive and well within the police world. And, if more officers felt that they could, I guess you could say, tell on other officers. But like if I was hanging out with one of my fellow officers, after hours, we all went and got dinner and then had drinks or whatever. And then I saw them being like a racist piece of shit to somebody or saying things like that. Like, and I wanted to do something about it. Like, how the fuck could I go about that? Because if I truly saw them behaving like those text messages, right? I know that they're biased. I know that they have prejudices. I know that they couldn't run a clean investigation. And see, that's the only, I think about it in the teaching world. If a teacher was to tell another teacher, you're not like ousted because of that. Like that's not frowned upon. But then when you look at cop world, it's like, how fucking damn dare you tell on another cop? That needs to change. That's wrong. That's like the how dare you sue another lawyer when you're a lawyer, or you help a citizen sue a lawyer. Exactly. Nobody said a fucking word. But I'm trying. So put it in, if he was like a teacher, teachers would rat him out. Other teachers would rat him out. But when you look at it from like cop world, these people over here think it's just like, if I say or do something, then I'm going to be retaliated upon. I'm going to lose my job. Something's going to happen. And unions, I agree with you, Lana. There should be insurances for the cops. 1000%. That is what would change everything. So I was talking about this on one of my lives. I couldn't agree more with you there, Real Tea with Krista Marie. I said, you want to know what changed a lot of this? Is just like doctors have to be insured for malpractice and all that shit. You want to be a police officer, which I think that they should get paid really, really well. Every day they're going to work, they're facing a life-altering situation, just going over to a domestic dispute. You never know what could happen. They should be of high character and everything like that, and they should be like, I think that they can be audited in certain ways. Like if you're going to have a social media presence, if you have to divulge all of that, blah, blah, blah. You have to wear your body cams, but you need to be insured, because let's say that people want to bring on claims against you for whatever reason. When you become uninsurable, you don't have a fucking job. That's how it should go. If there's complaints about you, whatever, someone wants to sue you, this qualified immunity, I think you can just tweak it a little bit, because I don't think that an officer should feel like, oh my God, well, if I go and do this, then I'm going to get sued. Hey, wear your body worn camera. Wear it. It's there to protect you. It's there to protect you from anybody that would lie about what the fuck you did while you were working. It's cover your own ass. And so I think that if you don't have a body worn camera worn, I think that you should not be able to testify to anything that you did. If you don't write a report off of a recording, you shouldn't be able to write a report. There's so many little tweaks that if we made would make it so that if you don't do this, you can't prosecute, and you can't be involved in the prosecution of something. I mean, we have all these AI systems now. Okay. Wear your body worn camera, record on a device, and then you know how these systems will just transcribe that and put it in a report for you? You look it over and make sure it's accurate from your recollection of your interview, right? Because it's just taking your recording. How amazing would that be? And then you're signing off on that report that was just transcribed. So a couple more trees come down because of it. So fucking be, I mean, I'm just saying there needs to be rules that certain things just cannot be used if you don't do X, Y, and Z. That was my field, my criminal justice background. I was all about, I'm just like, there's so many things that can just be prevented. Why aren't we doing things to prevent? And that's just when you know that when people don't want those things, you have to ask yourself, why? It's there to help you. You know what I mean? And it's simple. Hey, you know what? I fucking forgot to turn my fucking body camera on. Oh my gosh. Well, this is what I can, I can write up, whatever. Here's my CAD. This is my GPS that can show that I was there. And then, I could, but hey, I don't think that you should be able to write a report without a recording. And I think that it shows when you don't do it the right way, even if it was like for like a stolen bike, It's like that's where the discipline is. Like you have to do things the right way because you never know when it's going to be that you're walking into a homicide. You know, a missing person, you got to work it like the person could be dead. It could be a murder. I just see a lot of lazy people. But I just know that what Aiden Carney did, if that goes unchecked, I don't think that people should be sitting ducks and people see that nothing's going to happen from that and that's hey, that's just the new way of doing something. Going to kids' games where they're little league games or where you think someone's going to be in a public place, but it's for, you know, a sporting event at a high school or great. Who the fuck does that? That is not normal and that cannot be normalized. Sorry. Enraging people for clicks and views to make money. Sorry. And our justice system needs to move with the times. It's a digital world. So I work in finance and meeting notes with clients via Zoom are transcribed by AI. It's wonderful. Yep. It's so fucking easy too. And so it's, but I swear it's law enforcement is where you only see like people won't tell on each other. But it's like you see teachers will tell on teachers. Throw out any type of, you know, whatever your field is. But if I report somebody for their like, wow, and I can back it up and I'm like, here. But if somebody makes a claim like that on you, I think that you should be able to peek behind the curtain. I do. I also don't think that when a cop is coming up to you, that you can just do and say whatever you want to them. I mean, like, I think that you could say like, oh my God, they just touched me. They assaulted me. Like, give me a fucking break. Be respectful, but if you don't want to talk to them, you don't have to, and say like, I'm not talking to you without a lawyer. That's all I have to say. I'm not saying anything more. I don't think that, I mean, growing up to know that if you were black and driving a vehicle versus a parent that has to teach their kid, hey, this is how you have to go about something because your child could get shot at the age of 16 when they're driving and it's nighttime and you have a black son, you're black, but then a white kid that's driving at night doesn't have to worry about that. So your parents never even have that conversation with you. When you get pulled over, you need to make sure that your hands are seen at all time. Keep your hands up, you know, keep them at 2 and 10. Do not move them. You know, don't do anything without, you know, can you imagine like, so I think that racial profiling still exists. I think that it exists in different ways even too. Like people are just, they're just prejudging. It's the best way that I like to say it is like, it's a stereotype or like you see this or you think that you already have some concocted fucking, you know, thing in your mind. I don't think that a cop should be approaching vehicles without their body worn camera on. So, oh, what's up, DJ Calling All Beings? What is good? Good to see you in here. Not only shouldn't Aiden kind of go unchecked, neither should the actions of Brian Albert, Brian Higgins, John McCabe go unchecked. Well, I don't know what actions you mean by that. Their actions, if you think that went unchecked because of the investigation, which again goes back to my original thing, which is this whole case is about the cops and what they did and didn't do, and that they didn't record statements and that they didn't record and videotape and everything like that. So I'm getting off. Otherwise, I would. I've been on this live for 2 hours and 50 minutes. So, but we can set something up. Profiling is being used to pin crimes on innocent people. Profiling is being used, I mean, but it's been used for a very, very long time. And they would never call it profiling. They would call it reasonable suspicion. Absolutely. I'm in, buddy. So, all right, guys, again, until next time, thank you so much. We will see you on the next one. Peace out. Should be interesting what happens here. My money is that the leak did not come from Paul and the plaintiffs. That's what I can tell you. Peace out.